Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. The Utah Jazz put another win in the win column, win number 17 as they win in Miami, 115-111. Man, a lot of the worst teams in the league won. I mean, the Nets won and picked up win number 15. They beat the Bulls at home. Somebody had to win when the Kings played the Pelicans, and the Pelicans got win number 15. I do believe the Kings are going to finish with the worst record in the NBA. And then the Jazz pick up win number 17. How did they do it? Well, another really good game out of Jaren Jackson Jr. He scored it. 22 points in 25 minutes. Again, not quite as efficient, 7 of 19 at the line. Jazz had 7 players in double figures. I really think the stat of the game wasn't about shooting. I didn't find the shooting stats really outrageous, with one exception. The Jazz were very good at the free throw line, and the Miami Heat were not. And Miami shot a lot more free throws. They were 30 of 44, 68%. Terrible percentage. 44 is a lot of free throws. But the Jazz were 27 of 31. And because they shot 87%, they hung in there. Miami loses by 4, and they give up 14 points at the free throw line. And the other thing is the Jazz just had so many shots. They out-rebounded Miami 58 to 43. It was spectacular. On the offensive boards, they beat them 15 to 10. So I think that's where it's at. And turnover has been a big problem for the Jazz, but they only had 12 in this game. Miami had 14. So the Jazz get the win. For more, let's go to the best of the postgame show.
Jazz recap on DJ and PK. I'm JP Chunga of the Utah Jazz Podcast Network. Check out my latest with Derek Favors on Roundball Roundup. Search Utah Jazz Podcast Network wherever you get your pods. So the Jazz came into this 5th game in 8 days. Been on the road from Canada to the Midwest to Florida, stops in Atlanta in between. They finish it up in Miami. That's where they came in and cooled the heat. 115-111, a win for the Utah Jazz. Jaren Jackson Jr. led Utah with 22 points in 25 minutes, but the young guys finished the 4th. It was Ace Bailey and Bryce Sensabaugh late. Sensabaugh hit a 3 to give the Jazz a lead with 45 seconds to go, and he hit 2 free throws to finish with 14 points. Will Hardy was pleased with the youth postgame.
Really proud of the group's effort to guard as a team for 48 minutes. It's what gave us a chance to withstand the beginning of the game. I think we were 3 for 10 in the paint to start the game. Missed some chippies that we normally make, but to take 13 more shots than they did. Obviously, they shot more free throws, but the possession battle is always a big deal in our league, and I thought our team did a great job competing for all 48 minutes. A lot of big plays by a lot of people. 7 guys in double figures. That's who we want to be on both sides of the ball.
What do you think led to that defensive effort tonight? Do you think it was attention to detail, just more effort, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, the attention to detail was very good. The communication was good. The physicality was good. We also added a guy to our roster who has been Defensive Player of the Year, and I think that first group, Nurk, Jaren, and Lowry, we have a lot of size, and then we start subbing, and 2 of them are on the court for the majority of the game. Those guys have done a good job of protecting the paint as a group, but I think as a whole, the perimeter players are doing a better job of containing the ball. Everybody has to do their job in this league to guard.
What did you think about Bryce? Just his composure at the end to knock down that shot and his free throws at the end of the game?
Yeah, Bryce. He wasn't having a great game offensively. He's been a little bit off kilter, out of rhythm. We're playing different lineups. People are going in and out in different moments and playing with people that they haven't played with before. And so there's a lot of factors that are out of Bryce's control. But, Bryce isn't shy, and he believes in himself and made a huge 3 late, and then obviously the free throws put it away.
How close were you to putting Jaren or Lowry back in the game?
I wasn't.
Coach, what do you think of on the defensive side of the ball, both Ace and Cody? Obviously Ace's shot wasn't falling. Cody only took 1 shot, but they were just consistently making hustle plays, being aggressive, and seemed like they were setting the tempo for the other guys on the floor.
Yeah, it takes a team to execute in a close game. And, we were trying to be particular about matchups when we had the ball. Miami has some guys who can really guard, and so we wanted to try to make sure we were clean with our spacing, and the group did a good job of that. But Cody and Ace both recognize that there are a lot of ways to contribute to winning, and it's not just about how many points you score.
And Nurkic had a good night on the glass, and just as a unit, Kyle, everyone seemed to be contributing there. What's your thoughts on the guys being able to physically impose their will that way?
Yeah, Nurk is an elite rebounder, and he's done it his whole career. He's done it all year for us. He clears out a lot of space. He's got great timing, a great understanding of angles and how to use leverage with his body. But I thought that Flip deserves a lot of credit for the way that he battled on the glass. And I thought he not only did his work physically on the ground, but he pursued the ball with two hands, made a lot of big rebounds in traffic.
And with Isaiah, another night, great playmaking by him. You talked about the live dribble passing he has. How does it feel to have a guy who can get into the team for the defense, create those dribble penetrations in the paint, and be able, like you said, not just kick it out, but find the guy for the dump off, see this guy who's cutting off the baseline or something like that?
Yeah, Zay is a hard person to keep out of the paint with only one defender. He gets so low. He's really strong, explosive, does a great job with angles. So he's done a good job of playing off 2 feet, which allows him to see those reads much cleaner. But he understands that maybe the biggest thing he contributes for us on the offensive side is his ability to get in the paint and draw a second defender.
Lauri Markkanen was Utah's second leading scorer. He notched 17 in 25. He spoke about the youth as well.
In order to get this win, the way you guys grinded it out in the fourth.
Stops and rebounding. And I think offensively we were getting what we wanted. Most of the time we were executing our stuff, and guys made shots. But I think on the defensive end, we're just we fouled a little too much, and that got them back in the game. And but I think once we defended without fouling and got the rebound, that's what we were talking about every time out, and that was our focus.
What's it like to see Bryce and his poise down the stretch to knock down a big shot like that?
Yeah, something in that Florida playing here, like last year too. I guess he likes to play here, but he's a tough shot maker, and just having that scorer's mentality down the stretch and brought us home tonight.
And then defensively, when you, Jaren, and Nurk are out on the court, you guys make it really crowded, really difficult. Could you feel that tonight? Yeah,
just trying to protect the paint, make it tough for them to drive. And obviously there's still stuff that we need to clean up. It's not going to be perfect, but I think most of the time we try to make it look crowded and make them shoot contested three, kick out the three-point line, and then we contest threes, and then it's about rebounding. So, that was our goal.
In a really, really long trip, what does it feel like to get a win to head back home after all of this?
Yeah, it feels good. This has felt even longer trip than I feel like it's actually been. With the January being mostly on the road and then finished it with this, and feels like we're being away from home a lot, so it feels good to go back home.
Jusuf Nurkic was a tree in the middle, 10 points and 16 rebounds, plus a Fred Flintstone fit. He caught up with Lauren Green.
Finished the trip, going home. I always feel great to win on the road. But I like the way we execute. A little foul too much in that third quarter, but, I get back in the game.
You told me earlier, talked to me about Jaren and you and Lauri out on the court, about that being crowded. What was it like again, game 2, having that?
I think it's a great, sign. I think the half, I believe they have 8 points in the paint. That was our goal, and coach really emphasized that we have to protect the paint, and I think for the majority of the game we did a great job. Just kind of keep building on that.
You guys were a huge piece to this defense, but I think it was contagious too to the rest of the team. How big was the defense in this win?
It's great. When you have an ace, when a rookie out there, just playing. It's great. Just the fact we're buying in and trusting each other. I think coach put us in a great spot defensively and offensively, but obviously we have to execute. But that length and, the help when you have ex-defensive player of the year. So, obviously he have to get back to the, playing big minutes and everything. But, it's a huge, I guess, good example of what we can do.
And I have to ask about the fit, too. What went into to the outfit choice today?
I mean, just being in Miami, I feel like it's summer, so nice weather, and I felt like it was just the right time to pull it.
So the Jazz finish the road swing 2-3. They return home before the All-Star break. It will be Jazz Kings on Wednesday, a debut at home for Jaren Jackson Jr. Pre-game coverage begins at 6. Tip is at 7 here on the Utah Jazz Radio Network.
Well, the Jazz sat their big guys down the stretch, Markkanen, Jackson, Nurkic, all sitting over there watching the young guys bring it home. I got to say, Ace Bailey, I was really impressed. He had 8 big points in the fourth quarter, had some really good drives. Every bucket was a little different. He scored 4 different ways. One of them was a pull-up at the free throw line. The other 3 got all the way to the rim. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they need to sit Isaiah Collier or if they need to sit Ace Bailey if they want to stop winning games. But they probably need to sit one of them because you put them both out there and too many good things happen and the Jazz get the win. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Jason Cole talking Super Bowl. Stay with us. That's next. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Scotty G today, noon to 3. My Hearing Centers, 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. Yesterday's show, we had Jason Cole in to talk Super Bowl, but also to look ahead. Which teams are going to do what Seattle did? Seattle was building. I mean, now it's clear, right? In retrospect, you can look at the trend and say, well, they won 10 games last year. And they missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker. But they were on their way. Who else is on their way? And Jason's got perspective on really the 8 to 10 teams across the league, maybe including your favorite team. So we'll get to that. Here is Jason Cole with PK and I late in yesterday's show. The Super Bowl is in the books, Jason. My big takeaway was that Seattle defense was awesome. Only the Rams scored 17 points on them over the last 9 games. They were good at the start of the year. They got better. They peaked when they were supposed to. And the offense, if you don't turn the ball over in the postseason and your defense is great, well, you get to hold the trophy up. You got any big takeaways from this?
Drake May is going to live with this one for a long time.
Yeah.
Because this game could have been competitive, but he missed 7 passes and fumbled when he didn't read it something fast enough. And that interception on the deep ball, he was playing 3 flies up on that play, like with his buddies in the backyard trying to see who was going to catch it. That's a horrendously bad throw. So, but Seattle's defense is really good. Don't get me wrong. Is it as good as the Legion of Boom? I don't think so. Is it up there with the Bears or like the Ravens in 2000? Like, don't do that. Don't put them up there. They were a really good defense in a year where I think the league was really mediocre. So congratulate him. Great year. Nice team, nice effort. But this could have been a lot different game if Drake May had shown up and played. Like if you put Tom Brady back there making those throws, or just Joe Burrow, somebody else who's a higher caliber quarterback, or at least a higher caliber quarterback today, this actually could have been a really competitive game, but it wasn't. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I like what you added there, a high caliber quarterback today, because I think what you're saying is that maybe, I'm not saying you're saying it definitely, Drake May can get there. So I will ask you, is that what you're saying when you said a high quality quarterback today, thinking there might be some room for growth there, that maybe he can get there?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot from Drake May in the first 2 years. You've seen a lot of things where you go, okay, that's a glimpse. Yesterday was just like some days it all goes bad. And, you can afford to miss 2 or 3 throws. He missed 7. I mean, 7 throws that just have to be made if you're going to be competitive in this kind of a game. When you miss that many and then you fumble and you throw that bad interception, I'm not even worried about the defensive touchdown at the end of the game, right? I'm not even counting that, okay? Because, that's a freakish play. But, the fumble and a bad interception on a play where your wide receiver is going to be wide open if you just lead him. Like, you're supposed to throw that ball 20 yards, further and to the right of where he ended up throwing it. And, again, this is one of those ones where he's got to suck it up, review the film with, Josh McDaniels and with Vrabel and just say, I got to do whatever I got to do to get better and not let this happen again. And I think he can, because I've seen, you've seen it. But yesterday was one of those games where it was just bad. Maybe it's the injury. Maybe it's not. Who knows what it is? It's over now. And all you can do from this is say, what am I going to do to never let this happen again?
A year ago, Seattle was a 10-win team that missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker, but you could see them building towards something. Obviously, bringing in Darnold was a huge question mark, and it paid off. And they're the Super Bowl champs. Who do you look at around the league right now? And I've got one. I think there's somebody you're going to say, but are there 1, 2, or 3 teams you look around the league and say these teams are clearly building? Let's look out for them next year.
I dare to say San Francisco, if they can just get back to being healthy and get their regular guys, if they can get Bosa and Warner back on the field, now they're going to have to milk another year out of Kittle and another year out of Trent Williams, which, we all kind of look and go, not so sure about that. We'll see. So they could regress as well. I was expecting Tampa to be ascending at this point in time. They regressed. I do think Detroit, if they can fix what ailed them and not having Ben Johnson and can get back to having a offense coordinator with who understands play action and setting up Jared Goff, they're right back there. But look, I think one thing we have to wonder about for next year is what's the condition going to be of the quarterbacks who are coming back? Like Lamar Jackson, started to show some signs. Like he didn't come back effectively after the back injury, and now he's got a new coach. What's going to happen with him? Joe Burrow, is he going to stay healthy? Patrick Mahomes, what's he going to look like coming back off the ACL? So if you can get those guys back to what they were, you're now talking about, really improving the overall depth of the league at quarterback in a very serious way. And I think this was a year where, like, the quarterbacks yesterday were not the same caliber of quarterback that we had seen in the Super Bowl the previous 20, 25 years. They just weren't. Sam Darnold's okay. He's nice. Not a great player. And Drake may become a great player later on, but he was certainly not yesterday. So what's the quarterback going to play going to look like for these guys?
Jason, here with our basketball team that we cover, the Utah Jazz, they had that Stockton Malone, and for years they tried to get over the top, and they got there twice in the finals, losing to Jordan, right, which is no disgrace. And it's like, they got to the finals and they couldn't beat him. And I always thought, well, yeah, that's obvious. That's a fact. But I thought maybe their better chances to win were the years that Jordan wasn't in the league and they still couldn't get it done. And where I'm going with this is with the Bills. Obviously they kept running into the Chiefs, or the Chiefs weren't there this year and they still couldn't get it done. Sort of like Stockton Malone couldn't get it done to non-Jordan teams. Do you think that their time has come and gone? And obviously they're making changes there. Or they still have an opportunity to be in the hunt?
I mean, look, if you start with Josh Allen at quarterback, as I said at the end of last year, when that job became available, there was only one coach in the league who was sitting there going, yeah, I'm good. I don't care about that job. And that's Andy Reid, right? Like, that's the only guy who was already employed as a head coach or looking for a head coaching job who would say, yeah, I don't really care if I get that job or not. Right? Like, everybody in the league would want to have Josh Allen, because if you got Josh Allen, you can build around him in so many different ways. And, yeah, has their defense regressed a little bit? Yeah, it's been 2 years where it's been pretty lightweight. But you can find defensive players. It's like, a great old scout I once talked to, and Scott McLuhan, he's been around a long time. He goes, I can find defensive players in the third, fourth, fifth round. If I'm just trying to restock. Now, finding stars on defense is a little different, but finding guys who can run and play and make yourself a respectable defense, that's not that hard to do. So they just have to do that. But I still think they're really good at other positions. Now, Keon Coleman, they were expecting a lot out of him, and he didn't do it. Is he going to finally do it, or are they going to have to go out and get a real number one receiver to complement Josh Allen and really make that offense go? Maybe, because that's what Joe Brady had when he was at LSU. Like he had Burrow and Chase and Jefferson, and he had studs who could change the X's and O's. Just like the Utah Jazz had two guys, they were never able to get the third guy. That was always the problem. The Bulls had the two guys, and then they were able to get the third guy in Rodman. And that put them over the top for the last 3 years.
There are a lot of Packer fans here because of Jordan Love playing at Utah State. There's also a lot of Bronco fans here. What do you think of those two teams going forward?
I love both of those teams. Now, Jordan Love, it's a matter of health. I think that's the only thing that's separating him from being great. You just can't stay on the field enough, and you need him to stay on the field more. I think the receiver's terrific. Everything that he does is great. You got Parsons over there, so you've got a lot of things. There's a lot of great things that are going on with the Packers. Now with Denver, I still don't know about Bo Nix. I think he avoids big mistakes, but there's still a consistency of scoring that you need, because all these, one-score games, it sounds really fun, right? And people start to we really believe we know how to get it done in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, but most of the time when you're in one-score games that are flip-of-the-coin games, they're really actually flip-of-the-coin games. So if you go 9-3 1 year in flip-of-the-coin games, and the Bears have to worry about this too, there's just as good a likelihood you're going to go 3-9 the next year. Or, more often than not, you're going to go 6-6 in those games, even with a great quarterback. It's like Kansas City 2 years ago when they made the Super Bowl and ultimately lost to Philadelphia. I was, look at them pulling out, one-score games. Well, that didn't happen this last year, okay? It regressed, because generally it means you're not a dominant team that can control games week in and week out. It means you have fault within your team. And that's where Denver, I think, for all the strides they've made in 2 years under Sean Payton, and they've done some really wonderful things, they need to even out the consistency of their play on offense.
You think the NFL likes definitive favorites going into the season, or it's open and many teams have an opportunity?
I think Roger Dell sits there and goes, I'm good.
Either way?
Yeah, I don't think they worry about it. What's there to worry about? They worry about counting money at the NFL office. They worry about counting money for most owners. Is their product the best in American entertainment right now? It's not even a question. What is 94 of the top 100 programming, live programs or television programs or whatever you want to call it. 94 out of the top 100 are all NFL games. It's not even college games. There's no college game that's trying. Not even the national championship game rates with NFL regular season games. So, I don't think they worry at all about, do we have a dynasty team? Do we have a dominant team? Do we have a this? Do we have a that? They're just look, we'll play the cards out where the cards play out, because, long ago and far away, we devised a system that created as much parity as humanly possible within a league. Free agency contributes to parity. Schedule balancing contributes to parity. Everything that they do, points towards having as even a league as they possibly can. They did this. This was not Roger Goodell. This was done under
Tagliabue and Rozelle. Tagliabue and Rozelle.
It was actually done under Burt Bell. So let's go even further back, right? Like they did balance scheduling way back then, and they had that idea, and they realized this was the way to do it. And the way the salary cap works, the way they share money, is all to build parity in a league to make sure that people are as interested in week 1 as they are in week 17. And you know what? They figured it out. And baseball is sitting there going, can we do that? Can't we do that? How about players? Could we maybe try and do this? And look, I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm living in glory right now. But I do understand the inequity. Like when I look at the Pittsburgh Pirates and I go, oh, they got a two-year window with the best pitcher in the National League. Man, that sucks. Maybe when the Dodgers get enough money, they'll buy Paul Skeens.
All right, there is Jason Cole late in yesterday's show. Hey, here's a reminder. The best blanket ever is also the best Valentine's Day gift ever. Exclusive Valentine's blankets only available at Minky Couture. Save 50% using the promo code ZONE50 at Minky Couture store or online at minkycouture.com. All right, coming up, more basketball. Steve Cleveland joined us to talk about the Jazz and to talk about the BYU Cougars. Interesting because the Cougars play tonight. They need to snap that losing streak. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 5 out of 6. The big game in the Big 12 last night, Arizona goes down to defeat. Number 1 Arizona loses for the first time this year at Kansas. And Kansas didn't have their guy. I mean, it was Darren Peterson didn't play. Flu-like symptoms, too sick to play. And they win without him and give Arizona their first loss of the year. So anything is possible. Can the Cougars go get a win? I mean, at Baylor, it seems like they really ought to be able to win at Baylor, right? It is time. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 5 out of 6. It is time to pick up a W against a Baylor team that, I don't know. I mean, they're okay. They're not good. They're certainly struggling in league without question. They are 3-8 in the Big 12, 13-10. I mean, they've been playing some teams close. BYU is a 3.5-point favorite on the road, so we'll see if they get it done tonight. Steve Cleveland talking about the acquisition of Jaren Jackson Jr. and how does BYU snap that losing streak. That's next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Steve Cleveland joined us yesterday to look ahead to tonight's BYU game at Baylor. How do they snap the losing streak? And what does the acquisition of Jaren Jackson Jr. mean for the Jazz? Now, obviously, this was yesterday, so Steve didn't know that the Jazz were going to win in Miami, and Jackson was going to go for 22 points in 25 minutes again and sit the entire fourth quarter again because the Jazz were afraid they were going to win, and this time they actually did. That's happened in both of his first 2 games here with the Jazz. That they've had to sit him because the game's been going too well after 3 quarters. All right, here's Steve Cleveland with PK and I. Jaren Jackson Jr., how good can they be next year when they don't sit everybody in the fourth quarter and stop calling timeouts and try to blow a double-digit lead, which they did in Orlando?
Yes. Obviously, I think people have got to be happy. I think there's been questions over the last couple of years in terms of what direction we're going. Are we tanking? Are we going to try to rebuild? Whatever the circumstances are. But I think this is a real positive step for the fan base, for the community. I mean, Jaren Jackson is a former, Defensive Player of the Year twice, NBA All-Star. He's a guy that can have an immediate impact on this team. And I'm excited. I was very surprised. I didn't see this coming, obviously. But I think it's just a statement from the Jazz organization that we're going to get better. And getting Jaren Jackson Jr. there, only 26 years old, 2-time All-Star, scored 22 and a loss to Orlando. But I think he's going to be a great asset to the program, and looking forward to watching him play. So that was a real positive thing. There's some other things. I was kind of excited about Jock Landale until they sent him to the Hawks. But that was a short time, but I did watch him when he was at St. Mary's. But Concher, 29 years old, defender, upgrade there. He's not a guy that's going to score a lot for you, but he's a guy that's competitive. Same thing with Vince Williams Jr., 25-year-old guard, about 8'4" and 4", solid defender. So I think they've improved themselves defensively. And Jaren Jackson's a guy that's a difference maker that can, let's get away from no more tanking. And I think Jaren Jackson's going to have a huge impact on the program.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be a fact. You recruited Austin Ainge, and he played for you. And I can recall life is different now because everybody charters. But in those days, I traveled with the team. As you know, I had many conversations with you sitting at airports, and you get to know guys. And even as a youngster, when he got back from his mission, I felt like Austin had a real keen insight on basketball, and he had a basketball mind. And I enjoyed downtime conversations with him, or in an interview situation with him analyzing the game. And I was always very impressed with him. And I see he comes in and makes this first move like this. What did you learn about Austin Ainge's ability in terms of observing the game and figuring out how pieces fit? Because I always thought that he was exceptionally bright when it came to that stuff.
Very, very, very high IQ, basketball IQ. I mean, he's really smart on and off the court. But, I obviously I spent a lot of time being around Austin, and I think anytime you're playing, you want to play. But from the moment that he got there, and obviously just growing up with Danny and that family and back in Boston, and he's been prepared for this experience. But the little things I noticed is that we had conversations during the course of the year, and every guy wants to play and every guy wants to have an impact in the program. But I learned so much from him just in our conversations and trying to be evaluating where we were as a team. And this does not surprise me. He's just a really, really bright young man, and he's had a lot of experience. Obviously spent a number of years back in Boston. Now he's out here with the Jazz, and it's a good thing for this community, and it's a good thing for the Jazz, because he's going to take this thing in a direction. And obviously Jaren Jackson Jr. is just an immediate impact on how Utah can be better. And so, yeah, I watched him, and as a player, he's a high IQ and very humble. He would tell you what he thinks. He wouldn't back down from that. And if he disagreed with me, he'd share that with me. And if I didn't agree with him, we'd have those kind of conversations. But just not just a really basketball high IQ, but just a great human being. And I think that when you go into these kind of situations where you're making really difficult decisions, I just love this young man. And he's got integrity, and he's got a commitment to making the Jazz better, and that whole organization. So it's fun to watch him go about doing what he's doing, and I wish him all the well. I mean, I'll tell you what, this community has been so supportive in a very difficult times over the last several years, and trying to figure out kind of where the Jazz are and what's the next step and how can we get better. This is a huge step forward for the Jazz, and I'm excited about it.
In his post-game comments, it was really clear that Kevin Young has thought about lineup changes, and he is thinking about lineup changes, trying to decipher what he was saying in those few minutes. I think he's thought about it seriously, and he's decided he's probably not going to make lineup changes. But, man, one bad practice and somebody shows up late for something, and he might make a lineup change because he's not far from it. What would you advise him as he considers this? Because he's clearly talked about a different combination of guys. Maybe they had enough going against Houston. He doesn't want to do it. I think if they had a really bad performance against Houston, it was pretty clear he would make lineup changes. Can he kind of smooth over their lack of depth and hide that a little bit if he tweaks things? In his answers, he was clearly contemplating that seriously. What would you advise him?
To do exactly what he's doing, and that is to contemplate and walk through, and you want to involve your staff. There's some things as a head coach that you have a gut feeling about in terms of what direction we need to take, and I had those experiences, and Kevin's having those as well. You lose 4 games in a row after really having a great start to the season. But I think this is an opportunity to hold your players accountable as well. I think it's real easy for everyone to point fingers at Kevin, and then obviously that's just the nature of how we play the game, and that's what fan bases do, and that's what people do. But I like the idea of sitting down with AJ and sitting down with Richie and sitting down with Rob Wright. These are guys that are the foundation of this team. But spending some time, I would sometimes you'd have team meetings, but sometimes you just take maybe your captains or you take those that are having a real impact and spend some time and get a pulse and a feel. And you can get that sense from your coaches, but and I think this coaching staff, they're not gonna sugarcoat this. I know that for sure. I mean, this is a competitive group of young men that are, coaching this team. But I think it's time that the players there's an accountability piece there that, whether it's AJ, AJ's a freshman, he's a young guy, and Saunders has been there for 4 years. Wright's been there now a couple years. I think you take your best players, you bring them in and talk about what can we do better. And then you'll eventually have a team meeting where you talk to the team and you can dissect this thing, but not over dissect it. At the end of the day, yes, they got 4 losses in a row. And losing to Houston and being as competitive, there was no quit in that Houston game. But Houston we know they're a better team, and they're in a completely different place than BYU is right now. So I like bringing players in, getting their thoughts, obviously spending time with your coaches, and let's find out what the players think. Let's find out what they think they could do better. I mean, they're just as involved in this as anybody. This is not a pointing fingers deal. This is hey, how can we get better here? How can we get through this? Obviously, they're in a situation where they're going to play Baylor, and that's a team that people from the outside looking in go, that's a winnable game. Is that a game where we can kind of get our confidence back? However, when I look at Baylor, they beat Colorado, which Baylor should do. And what struck me quickly was that Iowa State 72, Baylor 69, and it was a road game for them. So I'm looking at the players here, the personnel. Agbim had 15, Carr had 24, Yesavur had 17. This is not a lay down Baylor team that you're just going to show up and think that the things are going to change and we're going to get this thing rolling again. Baylor is one of those teams that you've got to really, really be careful with, especially when they're playing at home.
When the Cougars are on defense and the shot goes up, do they just got to send 5 guys to the glass?
Well, my first thought on that is they've got to improve that part of their game. I think 5 guys to the glass might create some opportunities for transition baskets, real easy baskets. But I understand what you're saying. I think those are, again, conversations that, you can watch film. I mean, that's the thing, we watch a game and we forget about it, but they have all the film. It's all broken down, and there's accountability here. And this is a time where the coaching staff, which I know will be accountable, and go through this thing. But this is a time that you have to look at this and go, okay, yeah, AJ was 36, 7, and 4, big time game. All right. Where's his voice in this? And he's a freshman. He's a young guy. But what I think that Richie Saunders, who has been a little bit up and down recently, but he's a leader. Wright is a leader. And AJ is a rookie freshman that is an incredible talent. But the players are going to have to step up here. This can't be just a coaching staff. So the accountability piece, I don't know what's happening over there, but right now I'm thinking that we all have to be more accountable as a staff, as players, and it's no time to point fingers. What it's time to do is, how can we be better? What can we do to not block out and not get defensive and offensive rebounds and not have an aggression level? And, the little things that help you win games on the road and games at home. So I think that was just kind of a shock and a slap in the face. Nobody kind of saw Oklahoma State scoring 99 points. Again, they're at home. I get it. But that's a red flag right there. So I think getting back to the defensive end, This is a staff that knows what they're doing, and it's tough and it's challenging. But I think you start with defending and you start with accountability with your guys.
How about challenging DeBonsa to be double-double guy with his size, with his length, with his athletic ability? Go get 10 rebounds. And you're saying be Superman and put the cape on. Well, he wants to be the number one pick in the draft, and he doesn't want to be a good pro. He wants to be a great pro. And at that point in the longer game, if he gets the ball in his hands, they're going to start saying you need to be triple-double guy because that's what great pros just routinely do now. So what about throwing that gauntlet down in front of him? It's a huge ask, but even if he got to 8 or 9 rebounds, might make the difference in some of these games.
That's a great point. And I'm sure probably that the staff's probably had that, maybe a conversation. But I think, AJ, when you're young like this and all of the tension's on you, it's really there's a quiet time you can have as a player and a coach, as a head coach, and that you can spend time. And we know what AJ, who he is and what his talent is. But I think you go to your best player and you ask him, what can we do? What can you do to help me as a coach here? How can we right the ship? And you have that conversation with him. And I know he's only a 18-year-old freshman rookie, but this is your best player. So get buy-in from him. Let's see where his leadership takes him. I mean, he's going to go play at the next level here real soon. And it's going to be kind of a different world, but there's real accountability in the league. There's exposure everywhere. And so I'd love to see, coach sit down with someone like AJ and maybe involve Saunders and Wright, but there has to be some accountability here. And I think if AJ, what a great opportunity for him as a young man to talk about, I'm going to set some goals for me. I want to be a 20, 10, and 10 guy. I want to be a 20 and 14 guy and 2 assists, whatever it might be. Let's set that standard and let AJ be a guy, even though he's a rookie and a freshman, that he has a chance to step up here and really help this team. And I don't want to lay it on a freshman because he's done everything he's been asked of. But I think right now he's played long enough. He's had an impact on this team, and he deserves to have a say in this. And as obviously Saunders and Wright do as well. And I think between those three, they have to be an important part of this in terms of communicating to teammates, coaches, and they can get this thing going again. It's very doable. You can't get your head down, and that includes coaching staffs. This staff, I've watched them a lot in practice. They're not giving up. And they'll have an opportunity here to turn this thing around. But it needs to happen sooner than later because it does wear on you. Even as a coaching staff, it wears on your players. And so I'm hoping that we can see some things changed here. And I mean, the Houston game, man, they're good. And that did not surprise me, what Houston did. But I think Coach Young and his staff need to look forward, and let's focus on doing everything we can to get a win at Baylor and get this ship turned around and have some positive feelings about going forward here in the latter part of the league.
You talk about how it wears on you. Actually, doesn't it consume you?
I'm not going to speak for other coaches, but for me, absolutely. It can. It can just absolutely consume you. That's when you need, one of the things I loved about Dave Rose and when we were together, and there was a lot of things we had to learn kind of on the run, but I loved his attitude of accountability, and I loved his willingness to support me and help me with the staff and come together. And that meant a lot to me. And it helped. And, I was just as new to this. I've come out of a junior college. He had been in a junior college. There were a lot of things we didn't know. But one of the great attributes of Dave Rose is that he's got a winning mindset. And he helped me to understand that when we were going through some tough times and getting beat pretty badly, and that's just what some of the price you have to pay when you're totally rebuilding a program coming off a 1-win season. But so lean on, get the thoughts and ideas from your assistants and get their feeling. You can't, I think sometimes as a head coach, you feel like I got to go in the office and sit down and figure this out. Man, you're going to go in that office, then take your assistants with you. Find out what they think, what they feel. And then it's going to be pretty appropriate here down the road where maybe you do bring in your guys and you sit down and talk about as a team things that we can do. This is the time right now when you've lost 4 in a row. Let's involve everyone. And I'm not talking about the fan base or us as those that are watching this and from a radio or a TV perspective, but I think it's time to involve everyone. And what will happen when you do that, there'll be a unity and a continuity of going forward and being better down the road, and you can turn the corner on this.
Last thing here before we let you go, they put up a graphic on the broadcast during the game, and it showed how Houston has dominated both at the end of their run in the American Athletic Conference and in the Big 12. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like they've lost, I think, 11 league games in 5 years or something like that. They're just destroying people. And the thing they said, you get that big a sample size, well, the players change, right? It's like, well, it's in Houston's DNA. They play so hard. They contest every pass. They don't let you switch the ball from one side of the court to the other to get an open shot unless you take the thing all the way out to half court, and even then they might turn you over. And they battle for every rebound. I don't know how all these teams, BYU included, but how do all these other teams just concede the fact that Houston's going to be the team in the league that plays the hardest? So you think you're going to be the best and they're going to play the hardest? Now Arizona's undefeated, so we'll see what Arizona does this year, right? But it's like that's something – that just has to change. You can't go into a game thinking, well, they'll play harder than us, but we'll win. If you're not matching their intensity, why do you think you should win? And then you look at the record, well, most of the time you don't win. An overwhelming percentage of the time. Everybody's got to crank it up in every phase of the game because that's what Houston does.
Well, I've had a chance to be around Kelvin Sampson, and we're not good friends in terms of social settings and that kind of thing. But the few times I've met with him and the times I've watched him, this is Kelvin Sampson. You talk about culture and you talk about, winning and losing. And I watch his teams. His players have taken on his personality. That's what they've done. I mean, I watched them go to the bench, and I watched them when mistakes were made and how they interacted with you. I mean, I do that all the time when I go to games. I want to see what's going on with the head coach and assistant coaches and with players. And the culture that Kelvin Sampson has created there's an expectation. Kelvin doesn't have to yell and scream at these guys. They know exactly. And then Kelvin is a very emotional and high-strung guy at times. We've seen that. And that's not going to go away. That's who he is. But I'm telling you that man has created a culture there. It doesn't matter who he's got. And obviously they have recruiters and they've got good players, but there's something special about what he has done everywhere he's gone as a coach. And he hasn't always had great talent in every place that he's been, but Kelvin Sampson, to me, is your coach of the year, whether he went, every year. I mean, he's a guy that, not to take anything away from all the great coaches in the country, but Kelvin Sampson is someone that I looked to and watched and could see that I need to be more like him. I need to have more intensity and drive, and I need to be in a situation where I can get my players to a point where do we get to a next level? And Kelvin Sampson seems to be able to do that year in and year out. And it's no surprise that they're doing what they're doing. And they've got 2 freshmen that play significant minutes that are averaging 35, 36 points a game between them. So these aren't senior-laden teams. And obviously Zahn and Sharp are senior guards and they're good players. But when you see that he's doing this with freshmen, and I don't know if they're set out or whatever the circumstance, but when you can take freshmen and compete at a really high level, that tells you the right guy's coaching that team. And Kelvin Sampson, I love what he does and what he'll continue to do.
There's Steve Cleveland. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. # Utah Jazz.
Hard drive, Jaquez, blocked by Cody, picked up by Williams. Williams leading the break, bounces to Kyle, to the rim, layup good, perfectly executed fast break by Vince Williams. And the Utah Jazz youngsters are looking the 8th-ranked team in the Eastern Conference right in the eye and saying you're in for a tussle. Collier calls for Cody Williams. They want Yakachonis. He gets Yakachonis one-on-one, driving in the lane, fades back, hit it. Isaiah Collier. He drives, he stops, he bullets into a cutting Bailey. Catches in the lane, still in the lane, puts the dribble down, gets out of the paint. Bullets into Sensabaugh. Bryce guarded heavily, pushes off with the right hand, steps back for 3, and hits! He's sensational! He's Bryce Sensabaugh!
The Utah Jazz rally late and beat Miami 115-111. The Jazz scored the last 7 points of the game. They sat Markin and Jackson and Nurkic in the fourth quarter, PK, and it didn't matter. The kids won.
Yeah, that's right there with McHale, Bird, and Parrish. You said those guys.
The power line.
Miami sucks. The 8th-ranked team.
Did you see the post-game quote about, I forget which guy said it now, we've got to at least beat the teams that aren't trying to win?
Yeah.
That was the truth. It was Adebayo? Okay, yeah. That was a good quote. I like that.
Miami sucks.
Fact.
They shot 42%. And, it's great Jazz defense. They tried. They contested. Yeah, they were 30 of 44 from the free throw line.
There it is. 2 numbers that jump out at you. How mentally focused are you? Check the free throw line. How hard are you playing physically? Check the rebounds. Miami misses 14 free throws and gets out-rebounded 58-43.
And so with the game on the line, let's take a 3 so we can go home.
Not here for overtime, dude. Not
the NBA.
Here. Not here for overtime.
That's awesome, man. Anyway.
Their last 3 possessions, Messi. They forced a shot in the lane, too. It wasn't any good.
I see what you did, Messi, Miami. It all boils down to your
soccer.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, subconscious right there.
That's all you two care about.
So,
the preps and soccer. I'm the only guy who has to talk about both on the radio.
Next year, Miami actually has a winning record right now, which is stunning if you watch them play.
They're in the East.
I know. And
How is that stunning?
I was about to say, next year, can the Jazz go 20-10 against the East?
They can
be
go
10 games over.
They can go 40-10.
They cannot go 40-10 because they don't play 50 games.
They play 82.
Not against the East.
Well, yeah, but you got some teams that are in the West that should be in the East. If they expand, Memphis will go to the East. So, yeah, it's all convoluted. The East. What is the East these days? It depends on what the definition of the East is.
That wasn't bad. For all of that, weren't you impressed by Ace Bailey in the fourth quarter?
Always.
They're going to have to sit Ace Bailey,
No,
driving
they
to the hoop,
sit Ace Bailey.
driving and dunking, driving and spinning and scoring.
He played the most minutes in the game.
Mid-range jumper, showed a few different things there. And Filipowski.
But he can't space the floor. He was 0 for 3.
I know. But since Miami wasn't really playing very good defense.
What happened? How did they space the floor when they used to take like 5 to 10 threes?
They didn't. They played 88-85 games.
Oh, you might want to look that up.
Well, you're picking your decade in your game, and I'm picking my decade in my game.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the 50s. You got me there.
Oh, you're talking about the 80s.
I'm talking about my lifetime.
Okay. I was talking about the Jazz in the finals.
Oh, I'm not
the floor wasn't spaced.
Oh, the finals? Yeah, duh. I'm talking about the regular season. We're talking about the regular season.
Pretty
Who
quickly.
cares that Ace Bailey missed 3 threes? So what? Didn't matter.
It didn't matter in that game, no.
It won't matter. Because he's so freaking athletic, who gives a crap?
I think a day will come when it will matter. That'll be a better day, and it's in the future. I get it.
Yeah, when you got that athleticism and you can't shoot threes, then don't. Because you bring so much more to the game than shooting threes. And Miami shot threes, and they didn't go in. Shooting threes.
Yeah, so did the Jazz. I mean, 28% and 33%. The three-point shooting in this game. Don't come for the three-point shooting. You'll be disappointed.
I rarely do.
Jazz are off tonight, and they're back home for games Wednesday and Thursday, and then on to the All-Star break. DJ and PK.
#NBA.
JD on the dribble. Hard back down on Diabate and a whistle.
They're going at it.
And Diabate is swinging. Boy, Diabate he's facing suspension here. There is no question about it. And now Bridges throws a punch. Now Stu just came. Now, oh man, it's a Donnybrook. There they go.
After review, fighting fouls have been assessed to the following players: Diabate and Bridges from Charlotte, and Duran and Stewart from Detroit. Those 4 players have been ejected from the game.
Charlotte's 9-game win streak comes to an end. They're beaten by Detroit 110-104. 4 players kicked out for their role in that fight, and then also 2 players kicked out as the Timberwolves and Atlanta Hawks get into it. Naz Reid and Mohamed Gay were tossed for their scuffle. So even though teams aren't trying to win and aren't going hard, players still have contracts to play for, PK, and they still have egos, and they still want raises and want spots in the league. So these guys are getting after each other and mixing it up. Don't see that much anymore. 2 fights.
That's your justification for them doing that?
I don't think it's a justification. I think maybe it's an explanation. I mean, there's a reason why. I think players still have something at stake, even when it doesn't look like teams necessarily do.
That's a positive spin on the NBA. Really? Miles Bridges, who was suspended for smacking a woman, and he's trying to. That's who he is.
Yeah,
it could be on the playground at Peck Park off of Western in San Pedro. That's who this guy is.
And so why did Diabate throw the first punch?
You have to ask him. How the hell do I know? I never heard of the guy. I don't know. Isaiah Stewart's a hothead. Who threw the first punch? I never heard of the guy. I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, I'm not sure that I buy that as an explanation for going crazy like that.
The Nets get a win. They're 15th of the year. They beat the Bulls, and the Pelicans beat the Kings and pick up win number 15 as well. The Jazz are sitting on 17 wins now. Steph Curry going to miss this weekend's All-Star game due to a lingering knee injury. Replacement All-Star player will be named by Commissioner Adam Silver.
Me too. I'm going to miss it due to a lingering who gives a crap.
Yeah, right. Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum will begin practicing with the Maine Red Claws, the team's G League affiliate. He's going to continue his rehab from a torn Achilles tendon suffered last May.
That's good. You wouldn't want him in the secondary Maine Claws. It would be the main team.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Buries into Bradley, down the left sideline. Forces up a shot that's missed. KU's got it, and the Jayhawks will win. Some new history made in this old barn. A #1 takedown for the first time in Allen Fieldhouse history.
Number 9 Kansas beats number 1 Arizona 82-78. First loss of the year for Arizona as they start a stretch of 4 games in a row against ranked teams. We'll see how they go through this. Darren Peterson did not play in the game. Flu-like symptoms. They thought he was going to go, but then he didn't think he could go, and they win anyway. So, nice W for Kansas.
Yeah, what does it mean in March?
BYU at Baylor, 5 o'clock, ESPN2. You ready for it, PK? Big game. Can the streak be snapped? Losers of 4 in a row and 5 out of 6. The Cougars trying to end that run.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as you are. Yesterday, you were thinking that they got to win. I mean, obviously they got to win, but that they would win.
They should and would.
I don't know they should. I'm not sure why I would think they should.
Because Baylor's 3-8 in the Big 12, and a lot of Big 12 teams are beating them. I mean, you're the top half of the league. Well, you want to be. You're 5-5 in the league right now.
They're not even close to the top half of the league. Fran Fraschilla was talking about the 5 teams in the Big 12 on the broadcast last night, acknowledging that he's not including BYU.
Who do you have? Arizona, Houston, Kansas, Iowa State, probably Texas Tech, I'd assume.
Yeah, the 5 teams. Yeah, and he's not BYU. So, no, I mean, I'm not sure. Any road game, I'm going to look at them and say, wow, they're 80% chance they should win. That ship has sailed for me. I mean, I hope they win. I want to see them have a long NCAA tournament run. It's good for business.
Houston's at Utah, 7 o'clock on ESPN2, so those games will be back-to-back. Fresno State's at Utah State tonight at 7. Scotty G has the call with the pregame starting at 6:30 here on The Zone. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Before Shoddy went to the Cowboys, your name was kind of in the mix. Is there anything that would get you to jump to the National Football League?
Not whatsoever. What transpired with my son last year, ain't no way in the world.
Coach Prime, not NFL bound because of what transpired with this kid last year.
How do you continue to play the victim over and over and over? It gets old. The constant victim playing. I know you probably don't want to address it, but I'm tired of it.
Do you think he's irritated because his son dropped in the draft or because of what happened with his son in Cleveland, barely even getting to practice and then being asked to start half the season?
He said that he was blackballed if you listen to the whole thing, so I don't think it had to do with...
It was the draft. The draft.
I mean, he was drafted, but somehow he's blackballed.
The Raiders introduced Clint Kubiak as their new head coach, waiting on the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go with Clint Kubiak? And Keon White, victim of shooting in San Francisco early yesterday morning, a bullet wound to his ankle, 4 a.m. in the Mission District. He had surgery, but it's not supposed to be career-threatening. How many good things happen after 1 a.m., PK?
Wouldn't have any idea. I'm sleeping.
There you go.
Although I had a couple of things now that I think about it. Yeah.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Just 5 days after announcing his retirement from being head coach at Montana, Bobby Hauck has been hired as a new defensive coordinator at Illinois. He said he was not enjoying the day-to-day grind of all the elements of being a head coach as he left to Montana. Roster getting picked over every year, and NIL and having to raise money, and I suppose all that stuff. But defensive coordinator at Illinois, he's in on that. Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, the presumptive first overall pick in this draft, explained his decision not to throw during the scouting combine, saying he preferred to use the opportunity to help the Hoosier teammates at a pro day event rather than throwing at the combine event in Indianapolis. He doesn't have to. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Tony Finau making his first appearance of the season for the LA Golf Club. They lost to the Bay Golf Club 11-5. And PK, first hole-in-one. You ever have a hole-in-one in a simulator? You've had 2 out on the course.
Never played a simulator, so...
So no. They were jumping...
I literally have never played one.
Jumping around like it was a PGA tournament. Celebrating the hole-in-one on the simulator. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Spring training begins today. Pitchers and catchers reporting to team sites in Florida and Arizona. Here we go. Got the hat on? You ready?
Go Dodgers. If everything comes together, I like their chances.
Nice. If everything comes together.
Like, they get to the stadium on time. The traffic isn't too bad.
Things come together.
The locks work. And they open.
If Shohei's stuck in traffic at 7:30, their odds go down.
Yeah, they got a good chance.
DJ PK. Team USA Women's Hockey versus Team Canada. The U.S. women have been dominating in these preliminary rounds. We're still in the preliminary round here, but the U.S. and Canada usually finishing 1-2, taking home gold and silver. They're considered the gold medal favorites. They play at noon Mountain Time today.
So, gold and silver, I have none.
Lindsey Vonn, complex tibia fracture that will require multiple surgeries to fix properly. Says she doesn't regret a thing. But now she's looking at a long rehab here. What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Steve Cleveland, former BYU basketball coach.
That was yesterday.
Will join us yesterday. Ken Pomeroy will join us at 8:30. And Andy Bailey here to talk NBA at 9 o'clock.
So if I just put a bunch of swear words in here, would you just read them?
50-50. It's a toss-up. Probably depends on the word. There's a couple that might catch my attention while I'm still groggy. But there's a couple that might slide right on by.
Do that, Yak.
Do not do that, Yak. I will hold on to the paper as a witness. Right now, it is time to talk Valentine's Day.
Oh, the doctor of love is in the house.
John is here from J. Brooks Jeweler. He comes bearing not just jewelry, but flowers, chocolates. Who needs to run 3 errands when you can just run one?
I feel lucky today.
It is your, well, it's also, we're sitting here, you kind of look like the Unabomber over there when I first got here.
Right, I'm the opposite of love.
Well, you put on a big, big facade, but we know you're a big teddy bear.
I am. Problem is I'm getting bigger.
Well, I think that's true of all of us. The spread is real. But no, this tis the season, and Valentine's is a holiday. I always remind the guys it's a holiday you don't want to get wrong. You don't want to mess it up. I had a nice couple in last night. And we were just laughing about that. And she looked at her husband after they've been married 32 years. She goes, "That is correct. You do not want to mess up this holiday." So we have a lot of beautiful things for you. The girls have curated a beautiful collection. And whatever we're looking for, whether we want to do something in an earring, to go with something we did like Christmas, or we do a bracelet, do a little stacker, a little necklace. We have things in every price range, every style, and every look for you that you'll be really pleased with. At J. Brooks, our buying team is all women. And so it really created a motto a little bit where women know what women want. And that really comes back to the fact that the women are choosing and picking and kind of going us down this path to build a little bit of a jewelry wardrobe, a collection, if you will. So the girls in your life will be happy forever. And for the guys out there, we have lots of great watches. So if you're a lady listening and don't know what to get your sweetheart, we have a great collection of watches from brands Tissot, Nomos Glashütte, Bell & Ross, and a huge array of previously owned fine Swiss pieces that I think you'll find very interesting, and the guys love that. So whatever your situation may be, check us out on J. Brooks Jewelers online at jbrooksjewelers.com, and follow us on Instagram. If you get the latest, newest, funnest, you can see what's happening, and or stop into one of the stores, Murray and Lehigh. Love to have you.
When can they stop in? What are your hours? Because we're getting right down to it, and guys are thinking, how do I squeeze this in after work?
Well, you have 5 days left, where we start, including today. We're open from 10 to 6. Monday through Saturday during the week, and of course today we have Tuesday and through Saturday. And you can look online, you can buy online, we can deliver to you, you can ship to you. It makes it really easy for you. And the easiest thing of all, as you started off with, is that with every purchase we can include chocolate, we include a dozen roses, and of course we gift wrap. We make you look good. When we're finished and done, you'll look like the hero, which is the whole purpose of this event.
J. Brooks Jewelers. Check them out online or on Instagram, jbrooksjewelers.com. Thanks, John.
Thank you, man.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
Joining us on the program right now for Jazz Daily, he is the coach, Tim Lacombe. You can hear him, of course, pre-half and post on your radio dial right here, the radio home of the Utah Jazz.
When you just look at it at face value, you're adding a 2-time All-Star Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that is on 5 attempts per night from 3, shooting 36%. Wow. Rebounding is low. It's always kind of been low. I'm hoping maybe Will can get to him like he got to Colin on tempo. It would have, a guy that was voted Defensive Player of the Year. He's blocking 3 shots a game back then. That alongside what I think is probably one of the up-and-coming dominant rim protectors. If Walker and the Jazz find common ground, you look at a team that's really big, but you also look at a team that's very long. This move allows Lowry to go to the 3, and he is an absolute cheat code at 3. It's pretty exciting to think about.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. The moves are done. The trade deadline is gone. It has come and gone. What do you think? How are the Jazz doing? Evaluation, please. Jeff just stares at his leader, David Locke. Locke is happy. That's good enough for me. And I'm glad we didn't trade PK. Jeff wants you right there behind that microphone.
I would be put on irrevocable, unvocable, and misvocable waivers. Then we'll be unclaimed.
Patrick says, let's answer this after they played a few more games. He's not coming out with any early statements.
Yeah, I don't need him to play a few more games.
You like what you've seen.
And they will play a few more games. I liked it the moment I saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched Jaren Jackson enough to know that he immediately can be the best player on your team, which might not be good enough, but in terms of the end of the tank, the second that trade was agreed upon by both teams, that ended it immediately. And literally that very second, we're done. Now they'll do this ham and egg thing this year, and I am a little worried. I'd sit them even more. Maybe play them tomorrow night in front of the home folks
But start pulling guys at halftime or 3 minutes in the third quarter. You don't get to play 9 minutes in the third quarter or whatever.
Tell him that, hey, the league created a new situation. The All-Star break is now 3 weeks.
Cancun on 3. Go, guys.
Maybe he won't notice.
Svi, not so fast.
Yeah, see, I never bothered to learn that guy's name, and now he ain't playing.
Yeah.
I was right.
But
he's right with the text line. Why did I need to know it? It wasn't going to last. Sevi, he's not going to last. Why do I need to know how to learn his name?
That's a new one.
He's going to need to play for the next 25, 30 games.
He didn't play the last couple.
I know, and they won. And you don't want that. You just said you're nervous. Play him for the next 25, and then he can move on to his next team.
Yeah, but I don't need him taking Ace Bailey's moments. He's not going to take Marketing or Jackson's moments. It's the youngsters. So at least you're getting some benefit out of that, is the development of the youngsters. If you're going to win, then it has to be
on the sensible shot and then on a Ace Bailey drive.
And them getting Ace Bailey got 37 minutes. Collier, Cody Williams, we know the guys. So the other two guys are proven commodities, Marketing and Jackson. They just are. We know what they are. We know what they're about. We know what they can do. They don't need more seasoning. They need better players around them and a commitment to suit up at least in the 70s in terms of games played, and then this team will be successful next season. That's it. It's already there. It's a fact. I don't need to see anything more. I've seen Jackson play now. He's been in the league, 6 years?
Yep. All-Star games, playoff series,
he's a
including
player.
against the Jazz. Yeah, you've seen him.
Now, you can argue, well, if he's your best player, you're not going to win a title. But I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about them getting out of the tank mode, which they're going to do, and then see how good they can be. You don't know what you need until you see what you have. And that was freaking deep right there. It was. Absolutely it was.
I think you got a pretty good idea what you need, which is why you said if he's your best player, you're probably not winning a championship.
Yeah, but I don't want a pretty good idea. I want to know. Because I know what I have in him. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the team. Because what do I have in George when there's other options? George can come down and shoot 25 times a game, and you don't have any options. Or they're not ready yet. I don't know what I have in Cody Williams. I don't know what I have completely in Ace Bailey. I probably won't know for 5 years for that matter because he's so young. I won't know what I have if they keep the pick and who they draft because we don't even know A and then B.
That is a huge question mark, which Shea brings up in his comment. The Jazz will be, at worst, a top 6 seed in the next season. In the West next season, and then he puts it in the pause in. But the only thing that can ruin it would be losing our pick to OKC. Because literally you get your choice of, we've been told there's 2 or 3, franchise guys, generational talents in this draft. You could get one of them. Maybe you could get your pick of everybody and be drafting one, and you could also fall the way out and get nobody and not have a pick.
Well, they got to get it.
Right. So that could have a big impact on the team going forward, which is why they're doing what they're doing.
So I'm totally fine with Jackson being the best player on the team in the 26-27 season because they've got enough quality guys to where they will be competitive. And it will be a fun season because it's fun to go in a discovery mode when you're trying to win. When you're not, it's not as fun. Obviously, it makes sense. It's a big old duh.
When you're doing something for the first time, which is what this group will be doing, can they get to the playoffs for the first time? Can they win 50 for the first time? Assuming they do those two things, well, now can you win a playoff series together for the first time? All those firsts for this group will be fun to watch.
It will, and it will be fun for them to try it. They will have, when they come to camp next October, they will have a zest and a pep that they haven't had. They will. There's no doubt about it. Because it'll be something for marketing. It'll be like, okay, finally, I've been here for 4 years. And now we're going to try. And now I want to see how good of a player he is. Because he has zero pressure on him.
I know. And now there'll be pressure.
He's just making millions of dollars, sitting around, going, and I had to hear about how great he was in the summer, in the whatever international spiel they got. I got so many of them I can't keep track. Last summer. That actually ticked me off.
We know.
To watch him dominate and then play 47 games. No, that's not good enough.
Well, now we'll see if his body can really hold up for 82 and if he can excel for 82 with the highest bar. He's never had the expectation of being one of the top 2 players on the team, and you 2 guys are supposed to get this team in the playoffs.
You're making $50 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 $50 million guys, so go win 50 games and get to the playoffs, and he's played more games in the NBA among active players than anybody else who's never been to the playoffs.
I know.
So it's time to snap that streak next spring.
Right. So let's see what you got, big dude. And I suspect as long as he's playing, he'll be fine. Because he's a player. So we'll see that. Next training camp, next media day, when we go over there and interview players and Austin Ainge or Will Hardy, whomever, you'll hear it. You'll see it. You'll be able to feel it in their excitement, in their voices, and the optimistic nature. So I'm totally fine with Jackson being the best player because then next year they're in a discovery mode, but it is at a much higher level than it has been. And then they'll know what moves to make, blah, 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 and who they get and all that stuff. And if they bring in some savvy vets and all that stuff, the idea of bringing in, we tried to make it with Patty Mills, he's going to teach the younger. That was such an overblown story, but you had no other stories. He wasn't going to play. He's not good enough anymore. But they had to have something to talk about
because they were going to tank and lose night after night.
Yeah.
And if they came close to winning, then they were going to get marking into DNP.
It's not the same as when they brought in Hill and Johnson.
No,
DL.
They still had stuff in the tank.
Yeah.
And Joe Johnson was still at a point in his career where he could bring the ball up and hit a big shot and win a playoff game.
And so with that in mind, you'll hear it. So I don't need to see. I don't have a wait and see attitude to know that this team is A, going to be competitive, and B, probably going to be good.
But how competitive and where to slot them in the West. And that's what will be intriguing about next year.
That'll be fun. Yeah. Anytime you play to win. We'll come in next year, and if you go on the Southeast trip where you play Orlando and Miami and you go 1-1 and you lose the other one by a couple points, we'll be agonizing that they could have gone 2-0. Now it's like, well, who cares?
Yeah, we don't. But next year, I mean, you're right.
We will.
There's a bunch of, they'll get an Eastern trip, and we'll be thinking that conference isn't as good. There's a lot of bad teams. Right. They got to go 3-1 or 4-1 on this trip or whatever.
I can remember before I got fired doing the TV, man, the Jazz have fired me in more positions than ever. I got fired from radio. I got fired from TV. That when Millsap went nuts in Miami, I was doing TV that night, and it was a blast.
Yeah, hitting shots from everywhere.
Yeah,
time running out again and again. Yeah.
It's one of my precious memories in my. I've been fired from TV 3 times. You complained because you didn't get your contract renewed in Sacramento 40 years ago.
No.
I've been fired from TV 3 times.
And they were all part-time jobs, a little bit of money, a lot of ego.
As
opposed to you had to move.
What is more important, ego or money?
Abandon your wife's family.
Abandon my wife's family? What the hell does that mean?
In Sacramento, my wife's family was living in the East Bay, hour and a half away. We picked up and moved to another time zone.
Well, you didn't have to. You chose to.
Yeah.
It's all everybody around here just bounces around from TV to TV. Don't they got more than one station up there?
Not happening.
But I've been fired 3 times, double the time that you've been fired in television.
Well, that would be triple. But
I know, but I'm trying to be kind.
You're just doing bad math on purpose.
And that was fun when Millsap did that. Last night, okay. I mean, Ace Bailey played well, and So, but I mean, Ace playing well. I'm over that. He's going to play well. It's just how well. And then how does he mesh? And boy, if he meshes well and he lives up to the hype that he had this time last year, wow. We'll be saying in 2 to 3 years, not if, but how many All-Stars. And I'm not joking. That's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
Yeah.
It's one of the exciting things about watching this team over the next decade.
Right. I pray they don't fire me from this job so I can be here to enjoy. I've enjoyed the sour, not enjoyed, but endured the sour times. Now I want the bennies, man. It's why I tell you all to go to Trajan Wealth. You know what I mean? You're working hard. You want to enjoy the bennies. That's what I'm talking about. Do I have that today, Yak?
Yes, you do.
Oh, good. I'll be ready to go. I'm always ready to go.
What's your evaluation of the Jazz moves this week, Steve? I like them! ! They gave up very little. Clayton and Hendricks were not going to be stars, and the picks aren't going to be in the lottery. I like Jackson next to Lowry and Walker. The only concern is the low assist rates from Ace, Lowry, Walker, and JJ. They're all ball stoppers, and the coach likes ball movement.
Well, I like the ball going in the basket.
There's that.
So that's the number one thing on offense. And I do think basketball, when the ball moves, is a much prettier, more fun game to watch than the ISOs.
Isolation,
ISO
dribble, spin, back down.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah.
And they used to do that, and they got rid of that, changed some rules. So, yeah, I like the ball whipping around. I can still recall that play where two guys touched it and goes to Mitchell in the corner, and he throws a baseball pass the opposite corner to Ingles. That was fun. That play was cool.
That play was so cool that we remember it years later.
Yeah.
And that pass hit Joe right between the eyebrows.
Yeah, and he's
so
got his
perfect.
hands up and shooting Mo.
And when he threw it, I thought
in.
it might bang off the rim, but it was spot on.
Yeah, that's fun ball. I don't care who's playing. I don't care what gender you got. Move the ball, cut, movement, look for back doors if they're available, all that stuff. Yeah, I find that's when offensive ball, to me, is its most entertaining. Not coming down on a 3-on-1 and have somebody run to the corner and clank another shot. That's not fun.
Vernon says, I think we saw the value of Jock Landale in that first game. We should have kept him, dang it. Why didn't we trade one of our other bigs, either Kevin Love or Yusuf Nurkic? Well, my guess is Atlanta wanted Landale.
Kareem Abdul-Lawndale over here.
I know. But they wanted him, not the older guys.
How old is Lawndale? He's been out of the St. Mary's for several years.
He has been, yeah. But he's not as old as Kevin Love.
Oh,
Maybe he's a ballpark
no one is old.
with Nurkic.
Kevin Love might literally be the oldest player outside of LeBron in the league.
Yeah. Got to be top 5, right?
Yeah. And he's fun to have on the team. It looks like he's enjoying it. He knows time is getting away. You see him smiling there. Even when he's not playing, literally when he's not dressed, if they have a good play, he's up cheering. I can see him, and we know he has a history in Park City. I could see him being employed by the organization.
Yes. That would not be a surprise.
Right.
I've heard speculation about that. I don't know how real it is,
right.
But it's not hard to imagine.
Because he seems like he's a great teammate.
Yep.
And I mean, he probably's got enough money where he can put his feet up, but you got to do something. He won't even be 40. I have no idea if that would be something he would be interested in, but he does spend time here, and so obviously he likes it. So I can see something along those lines.
DJ PK, when we come back, BYU and Baylor tonight. We will get to that. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, PK, we were talking about this earlier in What is Trending. I do expect BYU to win tonight. You think my expectations are misplaced. Maybe I'm just not in tune with how vulnerable this team has become, how well scouted it is now. You know, they do a lot of isolation ball. Maybe teams have adapted to that, and we talked about the lack of depth. That's obvious. I was looking at this. If they lose to Baylor, how many more wins do they have on their schedule? I mean, Colorado at home, maybe UCF. I mean, if they lose this one...
I don't do that. No, I disagree on that. I think they can win every game that they play on their schedule. I'm not saying that they should lose tonight, but I'm not saying they should win.
They're a young group struggling to find themselves, so there's just no telling what's going to happen tonight?
Right. And you're so reliant on three guys. If one of them has a bad shooting night, it's hard. I think they all need to score in the 20s. I was listening to, got on the conference call at 11:30 yesterday with Kevin Young, and I went back last night and watched some of the plays, and DeBonsa needs to get in there. I know you want to be a perimeter guy, but for this team to win, you need to do the dirty work. At least two that came to mind off that.
Are you talking rebounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then when they had defensive rebounds, when Houston had offensive boards, he was standing right behind the action. When that shot goes up, he needs to sprint to the boards if he's on the perimeter.
He's got to find a way to get in the mix and then use his size, his length, and his athleticism.
Right.
To if not grab the ball, at least tip it out to a teammate. But none of these or watching the putback
if the other guy gets it, then you're there to defend him.
Right.
And in a double team. So
Block
there's a whole bunch
him.
of traffic right there.
Yeah.
So he may get the offensive rebound, but it's not an uncontested, easy putback where he is got Keita on his right shoulder so he can just go up on his left, and DeBonsa's standing on the perimeter on the left. He needs to get in there and contest. So even if they have the ball from the offensive rebound, what can they do with it? And the second they put it on the floor, it's going to be smacked away. So, and Kevin Young mentioned that Saturday night, or not, they played Saturday, right? Yeah. That, his assistants said him a couple of times, DeBonsa may have leaked. Well, the ones I saw, he wasn't leaking. He's just standing there. He needs to get inside, and that's not his game. But if the team wants to win, that needs to be his game this year. And then you can go be the pretty boy in the NBA and don't get your hands dirty and be the potential superstar that you have. But for this team to win, they need him. They need Saunders. And because Saunders has got some height to him also. Those guys are perimeter guys.
Yeah.
But their big guys aren't good enough to do it on their own. They need some help. And if they get that, and I still have hope for them, the hope is not lost whatsoever. But at the same time, it's now I am a wait and see. What do you show? What do you have when you play? Because at this point, I'm assuming nothing, good or bad.
He's the leading rebounder, a little over 6 a game, but in these 5 losses, he's only averaging 4 rebounds a game. And he's got to get back to where he was. All the big wins early that got people excited, you look at that, and he had 8 rebounds when they beat Miami, and he had 9 rebounds when they came back and beat Clemson. It's like, that's the neighborhood he's got to be in. The 4 rebounds a game and flat-footed, with the heels on the three-point line, watching Keita battle for rebounds, just isn't going to beat good teams in the Big 12. And it's not going to win Big 12 road games. And they don't have many bad teams in the Big 12 left at home. I covered everything else.
Well, they've already played them.
Right. Yeah. So this is it. And it is 4 rebounds isn't good enough. He's got to get back to where he was.
And they need to demand it out of him.
Yeah.
Young has to lower the boom a little bit more on these guys. And I don't know if he is, but if he is, the coddling is done because it is.
It sounds like he is
time right now.
The clear-cut frustration in the postgame. It felt like the PR, the upbeat stuff you got to do because you're always recruiting your guys and blah blah blah. That was gone against Houston. Just the sheer frustration losing 4 in a row and 5 out of 6. I thought you could hear it in multiple answers.
Well, he doesn't have to recruit DeBonce or Saunders. They're gone.
Nope, they're gone.
And if Wright wants to leave, who knows what he's going to do. What's his face? What's the coach's name down there, Baylor, from that family?
Scott Drew.
Yeah, Drew. He's talking about how, you think you think a kid would stay when he signed a contract.
Right.
But
so if he'll leave, if he'll leave and leave that coach like that, well, maybe he leaves you feeling like that.
Right.
And there's no telling what's going to happen in the summer.
And that's the thing that they have to evaluate, BYU. Is that something they want? Now, Hall is a senior. Maybe if you don't recruit right, Hall stays. He's a senior. But I'm talking about guys who are freshmen and sophomores. The LDS kid, if he's playing and he has married or is dating a Cougarette, there's a good chance that he'll stay.
DJ PK.
And then if he's marrying a Cougarette and he's going to drop to a knee, then you go to Jay Brooks, get the jewelry, set it up, and everybody lives happily ever after. Am I right?
I like it.
I bet you do. And I bet it's familiar. You have people coming in looking for engagement rings and wedding rings this week, don't you? Because there's guys thinking, all right, Valentine's Day.
I think
not a question.
I think Valentine's Day is a great time to get engaged. Yep. It's a little stereotypical maybe, but I just think it's nice. It's all about your sweetheart, and you get kind of caught up in the love and romance of it all. I think it's great.
John from J. Brooks Jewelers is here because the countdown is on to Valentine's Day. It is coming up Saturday, right?
Saturday is Valentine's Day. I think it's a great holiday to show your sweetheart. My wife was reminding me last night. She was telling me all the great gifts I had given her over the years, and I've set the bar so high that I'm not sure even I can, keep up with it. But
of course you can, John. Your greatness cannot be questioned.
But it was very fun to just have her go back and revisit some of the things. Our first Valentine's together, and then our first Valentine's married, and 42 Valentine's later, here we are. So I just think it's a great holiday for you to do it. And I think there's so many fun things. Our staff of women who do all the buying just do such a great job to have a great selection, make you look good. At the end of the day, that's what we want to do. I was just texting one of our inventory controllers and I asked her, how many different stacking wedding bands do we have where the girls get the stackers and mix and match? And in each store, we have over 350 bands to pick from. I mean, that's a great selection where you can come in, see, and pick and choose. And so whether you want to add to her collection on her stack on her hand or a stack on her bracelet or a stack on the neck, we have something in every little area that will be perfect for you and, again, make you look like the hero. And to make it look even better, which I think has been a big hit over the last 20 years as we've done it, is that not only do we provide Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolate truffles for you, but we also have a dozen roses ready for you. And, of course, to make you look best, we also gift wrap to make it just finish that nice little touch. When guys walk out with the bag, they know they don't have to do anything. They know everything's done for them, and that's what we want to do. We just want to make it simple and easy. Right off the freeway, Murray and Lehigh, and, of course, online at jbrooksjewelers.com.
John from J. Brooks Jewelers. Stop by, get the flowers, get the chocolates, get the jewelry. One-stop shopping. You'll be ready for Valentine's Day on Saturday. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much, man.
Join JJ and Alex at the RV Show Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. This is your opportunity to shop, compare, and buy the RV of your dreams. PK, you have questions, musings. There's a criticism of the Utah Jazz is bouncing around out there that doesn't make sense to you.
It don't. And I've had it.
Okay, talk to me, Goose.
I'm done with it.
You are in 30 games, but okay.
No, I'm done with the abuse. I'm done with it right now. Today. I was done with it yesterday, last week. So we saw what they've done here in the last two games once they got JJJ, is that they've played those guys and then sit them in the fourth quarter, go with the kiddies, and away you go. And we saw that they were able to win against Miami, and then up the road 2 nights earlier, they did the same thing, and Orlando came back and won, right? And so after that Orlando game, I'm looking at social media. I'm writing about this. It'll be posted later today, KSL.com. Legion Hoops, which has 691,000 followers on X. That's pretty big, right? Just goes in, and I don't know who Legion Hoops is, but I'm just quoting it, who the person behind it is, that it was the benching and of not just the forwards, but also Nurkic, and they lost the game. and the quote was an absolute joke. All right? Fine. Then you go down, another one that has a lot of following. Commissioner Adam Silver needs to do something, man. This is ridiculous. This has never happened in early February for this many teams. Another one. What makes it so absurd is the lottery odds don't truly reward this bleep. Feces. It's morally indefensible and intellectually faulty. Another one. The Jazz not only benched their starters to blow a commanding lead in the fourth quarter, they blatantly threw the game in the closing seconds as well, meaning that Hardy didn't call a timeout, and it looked like Isaiah Collier was just dribbling around with no point. And it goes on and on. And my response is, yeah, so what? We didn't create the system, and you saw San Antonio do it. You saw OKC do it. What the crap? What is it? Is this an F the Mormons thing? Well, let's just rip those people who live way out there in the middle of nowhere, because who gives a crap about them? So we're going to blast the Jazz for doing what others have been doing for years? Is it just Utah? Yeah, let's dump on the state of Utah and its people. Why, all of a sudden, am I reading all sorts of posts? I'm glad I'm reading that than the political BS. That drives me nuts. I'd rather read this because I can get fired up over this. The other stuff I can't. And I don't get, yeah, they're doing it. We get it. But what do you expect them to do? Change the freaking rules. Then if you don't like it. If you got a problem with it, then boycott the NBA. Don't rip on the Jazz when others have done it and succeeded. Literally won titles.
I get all those points, and it's hard to argue with all of this. I mean, there are definitely states in the union that people just automatically dump on. Utah, West Virginia, Alabama, and
Jersey.
Mississippi. No, not so much.
Yeah, because they know we'll crack you.
Possibly. That could be it. That might actually be it. West Virginia's not going to punch back, but Jersey is. We'll leave them alone. This has been going on for years. I think it lands differently when you're the team in the spotlight. It maybe didn't feel as harsh, and maybe it just wasn't as harsh. And the Spurs and the Thunder are great examples. I think the reason the Jazz now, not some of these other teams are literally just viewed as pathetic. Charlotte was for years, but people didn't really want to rip on Jordan. Washington has been poorly run for years. You can't really dump on the Pelicans because they're not going to benefit from this horrible basketball they're playing. You know, it probably doesn't help to have the Ainge name here because this isn't how his first two rebuilds went. It's not Danny's first rodeo. The fact it's gone on for 4 years, but some of it may just be, yeah, it's easy to pick on them. This franchise does have a better rep going back a generation, certainly, but even a half generation, and these other teams don't. But, I mean, I think the point about the Spurs and the Thunder is, you know, it's well taken. They did it, and it worked. So why wouldn't the Jazz do it? Now, that doesn't mean it isn't distasteful when you turn on the game. Even if you're a Jazz fan and you live here, I get it. They've been messing with this, trying to figure out what to do because it's kind of just the nature of the sport. One player can play 80% of the minutes and can probably have the ball in their hand, you know, almost half the game. And so if you can get that player, it's totally worth it to go through this and then have a decade of greatness or more.
It's blatantly and wantonly unfair. And I hate unfairness. If there's anything I'm about, it's fair.
No, you think there is no fair.
And this isn't fair.
There is no fair. You people quit using that word.
There's fair, foul, and this is foul.
Oh, it is the first day of spring training. Pitchers and catchers report.
Right. I'll be loosening up the hose later today.
Get that long toss in. Let's
and
go.
Here ends the segment, people. I mean, we'll keep talking. But
you brought it up.
I did. Sort of.
This is foul. And they could actually be doing it a lot worse.
How much worse could it be?
Don't play Markkanen and Jackson.
Yeah.
Don't play Nurkic.
Well, we might be coming to that. I mean, Markkanen only played 47.
If you bought a ticket to the Miami or Orlando game, you saw those two guys play in the 20s, play more than half the game, and play well.
Yep. True story.
That's not better than sitting out? load management.
Well,
they could just give the middle finger to the league and fine me. They got fined what? What did they get fined last year?
Pocket change to any NBA owner.
So unless you take away the draft pick, who cares what the fine is?
Yeah, the commissioner's not taking away the draft pick.
Right.
The owners hire the commissioner. We'll discipline you to a point.
Well, that's the only penalty that has any legs, any power, is you won't.
We've seen why owners really get disciplined. We've seen a couple pro sports owners get their teams taken away in the last decade. And there's been lots of stuff.
All you have to do, but that's because you're costing them money.
There it is.
That's
Boom.
it. That the
that
NBA
is the target.
and their social justice is a bunch of crap.
They're
doing it because they think it costs them money.
One NBA
because
owner,
there's a country over there that does it, and they had nothing to say about it.
One NBA owner and one NFL owner.
Yeah.
And the NBA owner embarrassed them for a long time and then tripled down on the embarrassment, and they made him go. And the other guy literally had a fake set of books in Washington and was stealing money from the other NFL owners, and they were not going to tolerate that.
I didn't think you were going to say books. I thought it was going to be something else. A fake set of books.
There were fraud allegations in there, and shortly after that, he lost his club.
Yeah. So I don't want to hear it. I mean, somebody said injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, but yet they got nothing to say over here. So shut up. It goes in one ear and one out the other. It's about cash. You're a poor for-profit league, and you're all making millions.
Quite profitable.
Yes.
It really is.
So if you don't want it, then take away draft picks. But they're not going to do that. So fine them. Fine them all you want. If I'm the Jazz by winning last night, then that's bad news.
We'll see as they come home, and the rules are different home and road as far as player availability. Let's see how many people are out the next two games.
Well, sit them.
See where it goes.
Sit them.
I think Keontae George should be out. He's rolled that ankle twice, so he's out. Now, beyond that,
his very life is at stake. He can't afford to suit up.
That's a massive overstatement. But nonetheless, I think he really sprained his ankle.
You get the point.
And he should sit the next two games. Now, beyond that,
I think he should sit the next 2 months.
I will not be surprised if there are other players who sit these two home games.
They have to. I don't even know who they play. They have to. This is too valuable. And then they have a good thing.
They're winnable games. I mean, you got to be careful. Sacramento, winnable.
Oh, absolutely.
Sacramento's
winnable.
terrible.
They're a better team than Sacramento with their guys.
And then they got Portland.
Portland's decent. Portland's building something. I'll give them that.
Yep.
And so I'd sit them both. There's no point in winning. And let the critics howl away.
Well, that's largely what's been happening. And I expect that's largely what will keep happening here.
I disagree, man. They played Markkanen, Jackson, and Nurkic playing 20-plus minutes. If you're playing half the game, you can have a major impact on the game. So who's to say if they sat both those guys and Nurkic, I mean, I don't want to build up Nurkic like he's all that, but on this team he has a higher profile because they don't have anybody else. But the other two, no. If they sat them, sit them after the first quarter then because Miami could have maybe built a lead.
Yep. Some of these teams like Sacramento, I mean, Sacramento's going to finish with a worse record than the Jazz. But the Jazz are only 2 wins behind Dallas, and then they're only 2 wins in front of Brooklyn and New Orleans.
Right, you're not competing with Sacramento.
And it was at least a couple of, right, exactly. It was a couple months ago that I was told, you watch, the Jazz are going to have one of the 5 worst records and almost certainly the 5th worst record in the NBA.
Well, they need to.
I know. And that was because the theory was that they couldn't get to one of the 4 worst records because they have too much talent. Some of these other teams are just too messed up. They're just completely messed up. But the Jazz would work hard to get to 5 because at that point they've protected the pick. Even at 6, there's still like a 3% chance the ping pong balls could go wrong and they could end up, sliding. A bunch of teams could jump up with terrible odds, and they might end up having a hand over the 9th pick, even though they have the 6th worst record.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if they can hold off Dallas, as it were, in this upside-down world, and then catch either New Orleans.
Well,
or
what does Dallas have? That worries me. I mean, they got Flag, but they set Thompson was it last night?
And I'm sure in Dallas because Everybody's tanking. That's part of the outrage is, when you get 6, 7, 8 teams trying not to win, then there's so many games you turn on. You're like, well, this isn't real.
Then
that
turn it
isn't
off.
real. Some people do, but other people love it and complain about it.
Well, and we just had a caller, Mike, called in, want me to pass along. If you guys will recall, Golden State at one point owed a pick to the Utah Jazz.
They sat their guys.
Yeah.
And Harrison Barnes.
We were doing the show then.
Yeah,
it was
Harrison Barnes.
We had a discussion about
It was 30 years ago. We were doing the show.
It wasn't 30
It was
years
like maybe, how long has Harrison been in the league? 10?
At least 10 by
But
now.
but that point is they sat their guys to protect that pick and keep it from the Jazz.
Sit, and more sit, and find me all you want.
Yeah.
Come out here and find me in person. I'll fly you out. Who cares?
We had a whole thing one morning after they'd already sat a couple guys about sitting David Lee. And I said they would.
David Lee.
And P's case, he's not that good. And I'm like, he's good enough.
good enough to
they
help
are
them win.
determined.
Yeah.
Determined.
Now, he married a tennis player, didn't he? Was it Wozniak? Go look that up, people. You two are addicted to looking up crap. Random crap. He's looking it up right now.
Do it, Yak.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, find out what draft that was.
Caroline Wozniak. Yeah, there you go.
Nice. All right, what draft was it? Pick a year, PK. So
I'll
you can
go 20. I want to say 14, but I'm thinking maybe 13 or 12.
Oh,
No,
I was going to say 11.
that early.
I don't know. That's
Okay,
why he's
Lee's
got to
been
look
out
it
for
up.
a while. Yeah. Okay.
He was in the 2012 draft.
Oh, we were all around it and we missed it.
First round, 7th overall pick, and that could have been the Utah Jazz right there.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, absolutely. They got to do it. They have to, and I wouldn't mind if one of them came out and said, "Hey, bleep you all. This is what we're going to do."
Yeah.
I dare you to do something about it. Be obstinate. Face your critics and then double down. I don't care if it's the most worst thing ever. I love doubling down.
Double on down.
Yeah. Doubling down is one of my favorite activities.
All right. Well, we'll check the injury reports as they start coming out. I think you get 24 hours away from the game. You get the first one, but then it's the ones a day
Well,
game
man,
that
they
really
just
matter.
came off a 5-game road trip. Marketing his guest. He loves the outdoors. He's probably going to go hiking today. How's he expected to play tomorrow?
They're going to. Okay, you can't dump on people who like Utah and dump on people who hate Utah. What's
I'm not
left?
dumping on him.
It kind of sounds like
That. No, I want him to sit. Actually, no. Actually, I'm paying the highest respect.
Okay.
You didn't hear me say sit Severino Malahuk, did I?
No, and that's why I think there's a legitimate conversation about whether Sensabaugh and Bailey and Collier, one or two of those guys need to sit. I mean, maybe they
Well, you got to play somebody. I mean, I love Oscar Deshiway as much as the next guy.
And he could play. He's on the roster. Play him. And see, if you're serious about tanking, play those guys. Because these other guys, they were young, but now they got 2 or 3 years under their belt, 2.5, whatever, and they're playing better. I mean, Ace Bailey's got half a year under his belt, but they're playing better. They're making plays in the fourth quarter. Well, you can't have guys making plays in the fourth quarter. So get them out of there. We joked about this a month ago. It's the highest compliment. Svi, Schwebe, whoever else. They got a guy in a 2-way contract. I don't even know who it is right now. I'm too riled up. I'll look it up in the break.
Is Micah Potter still alive?
Get Potter.
I love Micah Potter.
Get Potter out there.
I want to see. Hey, you played
Potter.
Collier, 48. I want to see that new tatted up dude, Conchar or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I want to see him go 48.
Okay.
He's a
Let's
bad
go.
you-know-what, man.
Play Harkless. Elijah Harkless suited up last night. Play him. You got a DMP coach's decision.
Oh, that would be so Harkless.
Ace Bailey, we were joking about it a month ago. The best compliment is if you can raise your game
And so
to the
how am I
point
ripping
that
marketing?
Ainge is because,
I'm not.
Because his millions of dollars in 47 games. I mean,
Yeah, that was last year. I'm paying him the highest compliment.
Okay.
I don't want him to play.
Yep.
I want him to go to the outdoors today. I'll go pick him up. Lowry, what are you doing? Let's go. Let's explore the outdoors. Let's go buffalo hunting.
PK and Lowry marketing, walking around Antelope Island with guns.
Oh, no. These babies, man. I got 10 of them.
Oh, you're gonna hunt buffalo with your bare hands.
How do you think I always hunted?
I got to get a camera. I got to get out there. I don't think you did at all. I think you went to the grocery store.
I thought about
hunted
saying
for a
something,
steak.
but it would have got me in trouble, so I backed off.
Good call.
I'll say it in the break if you two want.
Yeah, absolutely. Please. You know, I once had a boss who said that. He says, I know there's some things you can't say on the air, you can't report, but I want to know whatever they are.
JB's got a good sense of humor. He would like it.
I can't imagine you with a gun big enough to kill a buffalo. That's the.
You think one of the tiny guns from Men in Black, one of those, PK? John is here from J. Brooks Jewelers. Valentine's Day is Saturday. And if you go to J. Brooks Jewelers, not only do they have jewelry, but they have flowers and chocolate. So why run 3 errands when you can run one and go home and make that special somebody happy?
That's our job, is to make her happy or him, and to make your life easy, to make you be the hero. So to make that work that way, we just have come up with that for years. So any purchase, we have chocolate for you, and of course we have a dozen roses, and we gift wrap to make you look good. So when you finish, it's all complete. J. Brooks is a locally owned family business. Myself and my daughters and wife and daughter-in-law, we've done come together to build a company that's really set on the customer. I think everybody in their life has professionals in their life. They have if you will, a doctor. They have a dentist. Some people have attorneys. Everybody has a CPA, do the taxes, this kind of thing. At J. Brooks, we want to be that professional jeweler for you in your life. And so we spend a lot of time and energy making sure that we're prepared to deliver always a professional product. And part of that is just to make your life easy and to know that we're going to take care of it. Our free lifetime warranty takes care of things for you that are defects in workmanship, so you don't have to ever worry if something's not right. We're just going to make it right. And, of course, the ladies who pick and choose, they know exactly what women want. And so that when you come in, you'll be surprised at the wide selection and number of options that'll make your sweetheart happy. So whatever you're doing for Valentine's, which, again, men, it is Saturday. You have 5 days until the day. We want to have something beautiful for you. So if you'll come in, we'll do our part. We'll make your life easy. Things in every kind of budget, every kind of look. And, again, when we finish, wonderful selection of Mrs. Kavanaugh's mint truffles, a dozen roses, gift wrapping, and make your wife or sweetheart, girlfriend just as happy as can be. So don't mess up. And you can come see us easy at jbrooksjewelers.com. It's an easy way to take a look at us. And we have stores in Murray and Lehigh right off the freeway, so easy access on and off. And to just make it an easy process, because at the end of the day, if we don't make our sweetheart the most important thing, and Valentine's Day is one of those days where we say, you are the most important thing in my life to you, and we have something to make that look right.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m., right?
That's for every day, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. And again, just you'll find the environment very easy to get into and very easy to enjoy the shopping process.
You can start shopping right now, even though they're not open for another hour and a half. Go to jbrooksjewelers.com. jbrooksjewelers.com. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Wins a pair of tickets to watch the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers Thursday night at the Delta Center. DJ PK, and it's time to welcome Ken Pomeroy back to the show. Ken Pomeroy from KenPom.com. Ken, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. It's a special time of year. Special day, by the way. We're just pre-gaming here at the Pomeroy household for the mixed doubles hurling gold medal game. 90 minutes away, USA versus Sweden.
Sweet. You got the chips, you got the dip, you got the wings warming up in the oven?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Full on tailgate.
Man, Doug Gottlieb was right about you.
What is that? Where does that come from?
Comes from Doug Gottlieb.
Well,
PK is just the vessel. He's just the messenger.
He said, yep, didn't you see it? He said you were, full of something.
I know what he said.
I know you know. I know you know what he said.
Have you ever had a personal interaction with him, or is this just he looked at your numbers, he didn't like them, and you're stat guy, analytics guy, so he went off because he's frustrated?
Yeah, I'm not even. Well, so anyway, I was on his show a couple times back in the day, and he was, he's not analytics friendly. Let's just put it that way. But we've never been adversarial, I would say.
You are now.
I don't know if we are now. I just think, what's funny about Doug is I'm a kind of a connoisseur of coaching press conferences, and I wish there was a way we could use AI or something to measure how long coaches talk in their press conferences, because most coaches are they want to get out of there, right? You ask them a few questions, they don't have any use for the media really. he'll give a few answers and get out. But Doug he'll go on and on and on. And I guess what was funny about that moment was like the question was like something completely irrelevant to me, but he knew how to get attention. And like the guy who tweeted that out was some like local Fox reporter or something, and the guy has like 500 followers, and all of his tweets get like 300 views or 400 views, and that tweet when he tweeted out the video got like 400,000 views.
That's because you're you.
Yeah, I mean it is to some extent. It's like it's also because Doug, he knows what he's doing, and whatever. If he's got to throw me under the bus, he can. I think in the end, my reputation will be okay, and people will still make fun of Doug for various indiscretions when he was younger.
Well, I emailed the athletic director just in support of you to let him know that's unacceptable.
Thanks so much, PK. I appreciate that.
I'm curious right now, and there's still 4 weeks of basketball and conference tournaments to go. If you pick the tournament right now, how much change is there really? How much of this is already known as far as who's in and who's out? Because I'm looking at a team like BYU, losers of 4 in a row, 5 out of 6. Can somebody like that really play themselves out of the tournament?
I mean, they could if they wanted to. If they don't win another game, they won't be in the tournament. So they're not, they're not a lock at this point. I think that's when you look at these bracketologists and they talk about locks. It's what if you lost all of your games? And BYU lost all of their games. I think they would be out. But despite the fact that they're in a bit of a swoon, they're still a decent team, and there are wins coming up for them. They're dealing with life in the Big 12, and every game is difficult. So every game is a potential, especially on the road. Every game is a potential loss. But it would be pretty stunning if they lost the rest of their games. I don't really foresee that happening.
Yeah, I agree. The losses to the ranked teams, great teams, most of them, if not all of them, close games. I guess the Texas Tech one got a little bit away, but they did lead. But then you got an Oklahoma State loss. How much does the losses versus an Arizona and a Houston weigh compared to a loss against an Oklahoma State team? You see where I'm going there?
Yes, I see exactly where you're going. And, the losses to the top teams are, they're just really like missed opportunities to improve your position, more or less. The loss to Oklahoma State, I mean, that's the thing, so Oklahoma State turns around and they can barely put the ball in the basket against Arizona.
Yeah.
And so, I think that compounds the reputation of losing to them, I guess. You feel like, wow, it's a really bad loss. And it is a bad loss. If you're trying to be like a top 4 seed, which I think BYU, certainly on a good night, is capable of, that is a bad loss. But it's also probably going to end up as a quad 1 win because it was on the road, and Oklahoma State should finish in the top 75 in the net. So in that sense, it's obviously not a loss on the same scale of Arizona or Kansas, but it's not like it's some terrible loss that completely damages the reputation, which is, the whole benefit of playing in a league like the Big 12 is that, if you just go 500 in league, like you're going to be easily in the NCAA tournament.
NCAA selection committee, and it's probably been might even be a decade now. They used to say, how did you play in the last 10 games? It was definitely weighted. Is that all just subconscious now as far as that? Does a game now matter as much as a game in November, no matter what you do in the non-conference? And we always urge these teams to play more big games, and some do, but most don't. How important are the games now, and how weighted are they, either consciously or subconsciously?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be on the team sheet, last 10 games. I think one year they might have even done last 12. And, eventually people realize the flaw in that. There was no context for schedule. So if you're a team from a weaker league, Gonzaga is always going to enter the tournament with a very nice last 10 record. They might have 1 loss, maybe 2 in a really bad year, but a lot of years they're going to have 0. And that's obviously not feasible for a team in the middle of a power league. So that was the reason they wisely got rid of it. But yeah, I suspect it's still to some extent a factor for some of the committee members. I mean, that's the whole thing about the whole selection process. It's always been so weird to me is that, every year, I mean, it's just, it's 10 people on the committee, and they kind of have some guidelines, but there's nothing real firm there, and they can all kind of use whatever process they want internally. And so every year that like collective process among these 10 people is going to be slightly different from year to year. And so, yeah, I don't know, like we can only guess how much how much recency plays into things. But yeah, you have to imagine, like, at least on a subconscious level, a team, there's two teams that are close, a team coming in cold versus a team coming in hot. The hot team will probably get the benefit of the doubt.
Your name is out there, right? And it's universally used now, for better or worse. And it's going to be that way every year. You could walk down any street in the country, nobody would know who you are. But if you carried a sign that says I'm KenPom.com, I mean, everybody would know you, right? At least those who are interested in basketball. So I'm wondering, has the NCAA ever approached you about being on this committee to help with these seeds?
They have not. Why
not?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Doug Gottlieb talked to them or something.
That's what I was debating whether or not to bring that back up. It's Doug Gottlieb. He's barring the door.
He's the puppet master behind all of this.
I mean, you got all this stuff out there, and they use it. So why wouldn't they just use you instead of having middle people?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't. My only real formal dealings with the NCAA were like 10 years ago. And they brought me and a few other these analytics people in to kind of discuss how to move away from the RPI. And, it was a fairly productive meeting. And I really didn't hear much from the NCAA since then, and really haven't heard much from them since then, the last 10 years. But like one day, 2 years after that, I get a call from a reporter, and they're like, yeah, the NCAA is going to release this, new thing called the net. Like, have you heard anything about it? I was like, no. For a single thing. And it turns out the net is very similar to my rating. So,
so they just copied it.
It's very, very close. So maybe Doug Gottlieb should be talking about the net and not KenPom.com. But whatever, I appreciate the publicity.
We heard and we've seen Kevin Young at BYU. His first year, they only played one, maybe two good non-conference games. And then they had a problem at the start of conference, and it was because they hadn't seen the team against good competition. So year two, he tweaks it, and they played 6 or 7 really good games. But I still heard him say, I don't know what we're getting out of these quad 4 games. And so it sounds like he's toying with the idea of getting rid of some more of these gimmies. What is the value to either you or the Nets, and apparently they're so similar, and what's the value in the selection committee in helping these schools, BYU included, going forward? I mean, if BYU were to go to find people that actually play home and home and go to the Marriott Center, and Utah State would probably do that. I mean, Utah State's quad 1 this year. Another year they might be quad 2. Is there value in that? You might lose when you go there, but how much is that going to hurt you versus playing a quad 4 team?
Yeah, I mean, so my ratings are designed to just evaluate how you play on a particular night. And the games against better competition, like if you're a good team like BYU, basically games on your level are more important in my ratings than, playing a team ranked in the 200s or 300s. But the games ranked in the 200s or 300s still do matter. There still is some signal there to determine how good a team is. However, those games are, they're pretty worthless when it comes to getting into the tournament or your seeding, unless you lose them. So that's really the crux of the issue. I mean, you look back 25 years ago, and there were some teams like Lute Olson in particular was a guy who, you look at the schedules that he played, they were ridiculous. Every single game there were no bye games on there. Every single game was a good team. He might slip in a weaker team or two on there, but they weren't, bottom 100 in the NCAA. They were 130th or something. They were still a decent team. And, those days are obviously long gone. I mean, I would love to see love to see Kevin Young tee up a schedule like that, because I do think ultimately, yeah, the Quad 4 games are pretty worthless. I mean, they pad your record, and if you're a coach whose seat is getting a little warm, that they might have some value in that respect. But I think for preparing your team for the season, playing better competition is, for the most part, it doesn't have any downside. Maybe at some point you just feel like, you're getting beaten up too much or whatever. You do need a break, and so that's why you schedule a couple of those weaker teams. But as a fan, I would love to see Kevin Young get serious about that. However, I'm quite skeptical based on the fact that, you look at however many power conference teams we have now, 90 or so, like, no coach does that, and no coach has done that for a long time.
What seed do you think the Aggies will get?
This is a good question, PK. Man, they're playing well. Like, obviously a lot is going to depend on the finish because there's all sorts of landmines, but they have skillfully negotiated most of those landmines so far. I mean, had a bit of a struggle with my beloved Wyoming Cowboys the other night, but still managed to pull it out. So, I don't know. I mean, I think the upside is, probably like a 5. They finish strong and win the Mountain West outright. I think that's a reasonable goal. Obviously, there's downside as well, just like we discussed with BYU. If you really want to concoct a nightmarish finish, they could be out of the tournament. But I mean, I really like this Utah State team. It's maybe the best team we've seen here in this run over the past decade. So
yeah, I think so, and I think Calhoun might be the best coach that they've had too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him in the offseason. Not that we need to discuss those things right now, but he will be in demand.
If I said the Big 12 was going to get 7 teams in and the Mountain West was going to get 2, would you buy that or would you move those numbers?
How much did you say for the Big 12?
7.
Yeah, I might take the over on that.
Okay.
So many quality wins we shared among those mid-level teams that I think we could end up with 8 or 9. I think you're on point with the Mountain West. It's probably Utah State and San Diego State getting those bids, but I could see maybe 1 or 2 more for the Big 12.
I don't know if you've studied this, but there's a perception out there that because of the no Sunday play, that BYU always gets knocked down a level. And, if they're struggling to get in, then and say the top 4 is gone, maybe 5 or 6, and then if they get knocked down, then you got maybe a 7 or 8. Do you buy that theory that they are underseeded and sometimes, if not always, it's because of the no Sunday thing and they figure, well, okay, we'll let you in, but we're going to penalize you in a sense?
Yeah, I don't think they're out to penalize BYU. There are challenges in building the bracket, and when you're, only available for half of the bracket, any pass that avoids a Sunday, then, that creates some challenges, and, perhaps the committee errs on the side of underseeding him in those cases, but I don't know. I think, anytime, I think to bring this back this year, but they used to have the mock draft selection, and I think Scotty went to it one year, and everybody that goes to it just says we don't have time to the bracket's so complicated. We can't worry about matchups or where to avoiding storylines and things like that. So I have a hard time believing that there's any effect there. I do remember the time they got into the first 4, and the first 4s were the 14 seed or whatever for some reason. Was BYU a 14 seed and they played Iona that one year in the first 4? And every single year since then and before, the first 4 of the seeds are always 11s, but that year they were a 14, I think, for that reason you mentioned. But that's the only time that I can really remember that happening.
But that was in the WCC days. I routinely, and PK and I were just talking about this, we routinely thought BYU got underseeded. But since then, there's been so much conference realignment, BYU included. The leagues have gotten so big. Some of those things they used to have to observe about, teams in the same conference couldn't play until the Elite Eight or something. Didn't they lighten up a lot of those rules? Isn't there more flexibility now than there was 10 or 15 years ago?
Yeah, way more, yeah. So now teams from the same conference, I believe, can meet in the second round if they've only played once. Yeah. And they can meet in the Sweet 16 if they played twice. So, they had to do that otherwise.
Because the leagues got so big, yeah.
Well, yeah, you get SEC, gets 14 teams in last year. And it's like, how do you keep those teams from
playing?
Obviously impossible from playing for the Elite Eight, but certainly even in the round of 32, like you got to have some exceptions for that. So, yeah, they made that change 4 or 5 years ago.
All right, Ken. Well, we kind of sort of like you, even if you have your detractors.
Stay out of the news. My gosh.
Yeah. You and your clickbait. Come on, Ken.
I don't know. There's a part of me, like some people come up to me when that happens, and they're like, Doug's being so mean to you. And I don't know. I guess every year there's one of these like rants by some random coach, and I kind of enjoy it at this point. Like there's the alternative is like nobody talks about you.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I'm bad mouth you to my friends all the time.
That's why I love you, PK.
Well, Ken, we love having you come on the show. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you again in a little while.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Ken Pomeroy, KenPom.com. Right now he's got BYU at 22, Utah State at 26. And a former BYU coach. Now at Kentucky, just can't escape St. Mary's. Kentucky at 31, St. Mary's at 32. The irony. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Stay with us.
Love is in the air, and the Zone is ready to help you become a Valentine's Day MVP. Listen to 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and online at KSLSports.com for your chance to win 2 Grande Minky Couture blankets. Keep it locked on the KSL Sports Zone and be Valentine's MVP. Presented by Minky Couture on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Actually get a BYU-Utah doubleheader on ESPN2, 5 o'clock for BYU and Baylor, and then Houston and Utah at 7 o'clock. So you can settle down and watch your hoops tonight. You have your doubts, you have your questions about BYU now. But did you like what you hear in the press conference yesterday?
Yeah, I think Kevin Young always does a good interview.
Yeah.
And I think he's honest.
I was talking the basketball strategy as far as DeBonsa. They got to rebound better.
Right. And he's the guy.
And they don't have that many guys.
Start with him.
They don't have that many guys who can do it. Cade already in there. So AJ's got the size, he's got the length, and you look back when
his
they
arms
did
are so long.
When they did win big games, 6 rebounds, 8 rebounds, 9 rebounds. In the 5 losses that they've suffered here in these last 6 games, he's averaged 4 rebounds. You got to get back in the mix. They need those 5 possessions.
Yeah, you can't give up 17 second chance points.
No.
They corrected the turnovers. So I do think they have room, obviously, to get better, and I do think that will happen.
All right, tonight, 5 o'clock, we'll see if BYU can snap that 4-game losing streak. We got a poll question up on Twitter. You can vote. Who you got? Does the streak end in Waco? Or nope, it's going to be 5 in a row. Go to David DJ James on Twitter and you can vote. John from J. Brooks Jewelers is here talking Valentine's Day. The grand slam of love. You got to get Christmas right. You got to get Valentine's Day right. And also you got a birthday and an anniversary in there. There it is. There's 4 things. Got to be good. Got to bring the A game. Got to impress. Got to deliver results. And you are here to deliver on multiple fronts. Chocolate, flowers, jewelry.
Well, we do try to make it easy as possible for you, a little bit easier than the Cougars are suffering right this minute. But we do make it as easy as we possibly can on everyone, men and women, to shopping for the holiday. As I've said many times, we think that Valentine's is the most important holiday just in terms of getting it right for your sweetheart, something that they would know. My wife reminded me last night myself about how many great Valentines we had done and all the gifts that we had come up with. And it just was interesting to me that she was so remembering all these fun things that we had done. So I think it's really a great holiday to remind your sweetheart that she is the most important thing to you. And at Jay Brooks, and our collection that we have created is really done by a group of all women who really understand what other women want. And so when you come into the store and work with one of our stylists, you'll see right away that they're really intended on trying to understand your sweetheart, what they would like, and then be able to create a collection of fun, beautiful things that they can have. So whether you want to do something really fantastic for an occasion or something more simple, we have something kind of every budget, every kind of look that works for you, for your budget, and most importantly, for your sweetheart's taste. If for some reason ever we don't get it perfect, of course, they're welcome to come in and exchange and do that and make it just the way they want it to. And then we get acquainted with them. And like other professionals in your life, when you come, they kind of know who you are and what you're after. Our stylist will set it up for you, a little wish list that we call it, where you can have these series of things that she might like. So when you come, you don't have to make any mistakes because she's already picked it out, put her finger on it. So we think those are really fun things that make it easy. Both stores are just loaded with beautiful merchandise and really a wonderful group of ladies who will help you down the process to make it just as simple as possible. And when we're finished, of course, beautiful chocolates from Mrs. Kavanaugh's here and made right here by hand, right here in Salt Lake City. A dozen roses of your color, multiple colors and choices. And then, of course, we gift wrap in a beautiful collection box to make when she opens it, just really, when they see one of our boxes, the girls know this is going to be good.
Open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Jay Brooks Jewelers. Stop by in Murray or Lehigh. And right now, you can start shopping online, start looking stuff over. Go to jbrooksjewelers.com. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Join Scotty G Thursday from noon to 3 at Minky Couture in Layton. The best blanket ever is also the best Valentine's gift ever. Minky Couture. DJ PK, and we're joined once again by Andy Bailey. We'd love to have him in and talk NBA basketball. Andy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're doing well. You are right in our wheelhouse right now. You're the right guy at the right time. Got a question up this morning on social media. Now that you've seen a couple games, what's your evaluation of the Jazz trade deadline moves? Andy?
I like it. I think it's kind of funny that everyone's up in arms about Jaren Jackson Jr. not playing fourth quarters so far. This is the world that we live in with the NBA, and clearly Utah needs to lose games to add another foundational talent. But I do like the core that's in place, whether they add somebody to it or not, whether they add like a Camp Boozer or a Devance or a Peterson, whatever. Markkanen and Jackson, I think, fit together very well. I think Markkanen's quick enough to play some three when Walker Kessler gets back next season. I was truly not expecting sort of a win now move at the deadline for Utah, so that was a surprise to me. And I guess we can maybe they're in this group of deals that's not technically win now because I think they're all kind of expecting to win next year, like the Pacers with Zubats and Utah with Triple J and the Wizards with Davis. Kind of a long-winded way for me to say I like it. I think those guys can fit together, but I also understand what they're doing. I see why they need to keep losing.
Be honest, Andy. When you heard this winter that we were still doing the show, you were surprised, weren't you?
Why would I be surprised? I think something just went over my head.
Because we've been doing this for so long.
No, you guys are going to go beyond me. I'm well prepared for that.
Okay, good. As long as you know. And the good thing is that we will talk to you in better times because, obviously we want locals to win. It's good for the show and business and all that stuff. And it's been 4 years they won't make the playoffs. That's a long dry spell, right? So with that in mind, go ahead.
Especially for Utah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because for so long they were a staple of the playoffs. And,
right.
Years ago I covered the Jazz specifically and I was less of a national guy. And one of my favorite stats was just win percentage over the course of like 25, 30 years. And Utah was always top 2 or 3 in that number. They were just always consistently good.
and ripping the Band-Aid off on a rebuild with those Mitchell and Gobert trades. I think everybody understood why it was done, but for a team and a fan base that had grown so accustomed to being competitive, 4 or 5 years without it is a pretty long time.
Yeah, it really is. And we're expecting, obviously, the tank is over with the trade of Jackson Jr. You don't do that with the intent to continue to lose. That would be counterproductive, obviously. And so the big question is, what are they going to be next year? Now, it's like one of these top 25s that come out the day after the national title game in college football, but we all do it and we all look at it and it's fun to do. So with that in mind, I ask you, what do you think the projection would be for them in terms of what they can do to compete next year? Are they a playoff team? No, whatever it might be. What do you think? And realizing that I can't hold, we're not holding you to anything.
Right. And it's extra tricky in the Western Conference just because every year for the last 25 or 30, it's been really tough to get into the playoffs. But I do think if they have, and these are numbers that I think extend back at least the last 2 or 3 years. When Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen play together, they've typically been pretty good, if not very good. And now Keontae George, I think, is a lot better than he was 2 or 3 years ago. And so if you have that Markkanen-Kessler foundation, you add Triple J, you add the still developing Keontae George, and maybe you do get somebody like Boozer, Dabansa, who may not be ready to contribute right away, but I think could certainly help at least a little bit. I think you can at least compete for a play-in spot, and that might sound kind of rough. Again, for a team and a fan base that was so used to winning for so long. But in the Western Conference, it's just kind of difficult to project much more than that. There's just so many good teams every single year, and even if Utah is 44-38 or whatever next season, that's probably 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere like that. But at least fans will have a chance to watch like meaningful basketball games again, and I think a lot of the fan base is probably hungry for that.
Well, they're definitely hungry for that. I also think they're hungry for, playoff success. And since Stockton and Malone, Stockton retired, Malone went to L.A., and he retired a year later, they've missed the playoffs 12 times and qualified 11. And since Sloan retired, they've missed 8 and qualified 7. And there's only one Western Conference final in that whole stretch, and that's way back in 2007. So, if 20 years is a generation, and maybe some people would say it's 25 or 30, but if we say 20 years is a generation, well, this is year 19. So right. I like the move too, but you didn't say you love the move. And I think the difference in there, the wiggle room is, as good as Jaren Jackson Jr. is, he's getting $50 million. Now, Markkanen's in the same neighborhood. Markkanen's maybe $1 million or $2 million short, but he's right there, and he will get to 50. So they've got to sign Kessler this summer, and there's a gap. At least there was. Maybe that gap's been closed. Maybe it's going to come down to he's restricted, and they'll just have to either match or not match whatever he comes in with. A year later, they got to sign Keontae. Do you think it's all coming together and they could be back in a conference final? Can you see that in this, say, next 3-year window where everybody signed? Because after that, the whole thing could turn upside down. I mean, everybody will hit free agency. Who knows what will happen? Team building isn't a 5 or 7 year thing anymore.
No, stuff turns over pretty rapidly in the NBA these days. And I think the distinction that you made between like and love is fair, because I probably would not say that I love it, because Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great player. I don't know if he's like a franchise cornerstone. I guess he technically was for a pretty good Memphis team for a long time, but he's not the kind of guy who I think will push you to a conference finals. Now, maybe George or Markkanen is, but in such a tight window, when teams like the Thunder are still around and their guys are under contract for the next 3 or 4 years, and I think Jokic probably has a few really good years left, the Spurs are ahead of schedule somehow. I think they kind of upend the Western Conference hierarchy a little bit. So I would be pretty hesitant to
say confidently that they can get to a conference finals, but like I just said, things change rapidly.
They do. Yeah.
Maybe Keontae George is not done. Like we saw a leap from him this season, and maybe there's another one next season. That's not out of the question. And that's kind of what made Utah a lot better than people expected the last time they had a good team. Was Donovan Mitchell just kind of shot out of a cannon. It's taken Keontae George a little bit longer to hit his stride, but there's still room for improvement with him. Maybe they add one or two other guys this offseason, and I could see them being competitive if things maybe here's how I'll answer it. If there are things that break right, potential conference finalists within the next 3 years. There's a lot of caveats built into that sentence, but I think that's just kind of how you have to look at the Western Conference.
Why do you think the Jazz have become the whipping boy with tanking now? It seems like they're taking all sorts of abuse when so many others have done it and done it to the benefit and literally helped them win titles.
That's a great question, and it's one I would like an answer for as well. I guess optically it looks a little different what they've done the last couple games than maybe some other teams I can think of off the top of my head. Like playing your guys for 3 quarters and then sitting them for the entire fourth is maybe a little different than what some teams have done. But Utah is far from the only team that's tried to take advantage of tanking over the last few years. And we just saw multiple teams richly rewarded by it over the last few years. The Spurs get Wembanyama, the Thunder load up their roster the way they did. The Spurs' whole dynasty 25 years ago or 30 years ago at this point started because of a tank or a gap year. This has been around for a long, long time, and I can't even begin to blame Utah for what they're doing because I think they did the right thing when they traded Gobert and Mitchell. I do think that partnership had probably reached its peak, and they have chased lottery odds basically since then, and they just haven't been rewarded. And I understand chasing until you get the reward. I mean, how many – you guys probably know this better than I do. How many of these years have they actually moved down in the draft? Last year –
Never once.
Never once. They've never once
penalized.
They've never once
They're
moved.
against us, Andy. Let's call it like it is. You're a lawyer. You believe in conspiracy.
It's hard not to when I watch the NBA as much as I do. I'll put it that way. Yeah, so it's ridiculous, frankly. I think the national reaction to what Utah is doing, because the other thing that I haven't mentioned too is if you're a small market in the NBA, there really aren't any other avenues for a team building. Like this is it. This is how you have to do it. So I don't blame them one bit, and I frankly find a lot of the national reaction to it silly and stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm intrigued that you think so much of the Western Conference, and I certainly agree. The history says it's really good, and it's certainly way better than the East. We're seeing that as the Jazz, with whatever partial lineups they run out there, look really good against Atlanta and Miami, and pretty good against Orlando for that matter too, who are sitting 7, 8, 9 in the East. And the Jazz aren't even really trying to win right now. And next year, I'm thinking Sacramento, New Orleans, and Memphis are going to be worse than the Jazz, those 3. But I could see the Jazz catching Dallas and Portland, and I'm not clear with the Clippers, Warriors, and Lakers how much they're going to go to a rebuild. Now, the Lakers have Doncic, so they can only go so far down. But they're a team that could be vulnerable to one injury because their roster seems to be so top-heavy. I'm not completely convinced what direction the Timberwolves are going at this point. So when I hear people talk top 6, I know there's no way it's a lock. Let's get all the way through the summer and see what roster moves. But it's like I can't completely rule it out right now. I didn't hear that level of optimism in your voice.
Well, I think the way that you framed it is probably accurate to say that you can't rule out top 6. And maybe a better way for me to frame the Western Conference is there's going to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 teams that they just probably can't catch. That would be the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Spurs. I may be missing one at this point.
Rockets, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the Rockets, but they've been a little bit worse than I thought they would be this season. So maybe they're kind of in this next group, or the last group. I'll save this group for last.
then you mentioned some teams that I think are definitely going to be bad next season. And I think it's fair to expect Utah to be able to leapfrog them. And I think this is true in both conferences. There's kind of a morass in the middle. And the Western Conference morass is always better than the Eastern Conference, or at least I would say like 9 out of 10 years is kind of how often that happens. And so it's just kind of I would say it'll be more difficult for Utah to climb through that bunch of teams and finish in the top 6, obviously, than it would have been in the East. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking there, but there's always a big chunk of teams in the middle, or at least it seems that way to me. And I think Utah can be in that chunk. Getting above it, maybe we need to see what happens this summer, but I think they can at least be in that big chunk.
I just think the Jazz might be able to do what the Suns did. I mean, the Suns, with
for sure
not
Good
nearly
point.
as obvious as what the Jazz have going, they're 7th in the West now, and they're 2 games out of 4th.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And that was a team that I thought was tanking.
I know, right? You're not alone.
And so simply playing hard can go a long way. So maybe it's a little easier to turn the page than I'm thinking, because there are examples like the Suns here and there.
Yeah. Well, Andy, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you, especially as things heat up with the draft and free agency and the playoffs as well. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it, guys.
There's Andy Bailey talking all things NFL, longtime NFL writer and reporter. Or NBA writer and reporter. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, everything you missed in this show. We got 2 big stories, a couple other interesting things going on, but 2 big stories to talk about. Stay with us.
Love is in the air, and the Zone is ready to help you become a Valentine's Day MVP. Listen to 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and online at KSLSports.com for your chance to win 2 Grande Minky Couture blankets. Keep it locked on the KSL Sports Zone and be Valentine's MVP. Presented by Minky Couture on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. The Slacker Radio headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit the website at TrajanWealth.com. The main stories this morning, 2 of them. One of them BYU basketball, the other Jazz basketball. There's some other interesting things going on. There are multiple suspensions coming in the NBA. And there are also... there was also an upset in college basketball. Number 1, Arizona went down. They're no longer undefeated, and they're about to play 4 ranked teams in a row. This is the first in that stretch, so we'll see if they get another loss. Certainly the game at Houston is intriguing. We'll see how they handle that, but they got a couple of home games that could be tough too. So there's that. But college basketball, the main story right now isn't about that, because Arizona's probably going to be a 1 seed no matter what happens here. They're pretty good and pretty much set up. But what's going to happen with BYU? Losers of 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6. We are approaching tonight's 5 o'clock tip-off at Baylor, ESPN2. With slightly different attitudes here, PK. I am thinking they are going to beat this 3-8 Baylor team. However, you have noticed that despite the record, Baylor's played a lot of people close. They played a tough schedule. And we just had Ken Pomeroy on, who's always good talking college basketball and that. And he's got Baylor. They probably wouldn't make the tournament now, but he's also not ruling it out. They're at 44, despite their not glossy 13-10 or 13-11 record. Tough schedule, so they're way up there. So you are more of the opinion, hey, this is anything could happen tonight. Tell me how well you shoot the 3. Tell me who gets in early foul trouble and has to sit for 10 or 15 minutes. And really, anything might happen.
Yeah, and you have Coach Drew there talking about how they basically signed Rob Wright to a contract, and he broke it.
Yep. So maybe there's a little vengeance kind of thing, payback, people a little focused.
I'd imagine that the students aren't going to be happy with him.
Yeah, the fan base could get on him for sure. Yeah.
So that adds to it. And refs like to be cheered, not booed. So we'll have to see how that plays.
The thought of 5 in a row and 6 out of 7.
I mean, I don't want it to happen. I'll be rooting for him to win, but I just don't know.
Yeah, one thing Ken Pomeroy said when he was on, he was very complimentary of Utah State. They're 26th in his rankings. BYU has dropped down to 22 now. He'd had them up around 14, 15, kind of in that ballpark, but they're down to 22 with all these losses. And he said, with 8 games to go, people say locks because you assume that these teams are going to win, 5 out of 8 or whatever, and even if they slip, they'll still be in. So literally, if the wheels truly come off, You can still play yourself all the way out of this thing.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
No, I don't. I definitely don't think they will with Utah State, although they are hitting a tough
Utah
stretch
State?
in the schedule.
No,
and I don't think
they're cemented. It doesn't.
I think
their schedule doesn't matter.
I think BYU is going to beat Baylor tonight, but we'll see. Beat them and end the streak.
The Mountain West always gets multiple bids.
And right now, it looks like San Diego State and
Utah
State.
Yeah. So
New Mexico has faded. They were in a good spot, but they are fading.
They have it by 20 at home. They're done. They're toast.
I know. Utah State pummeled them.
Yeah.
Absolutely took them apart.
Right.
And then they went out and suffered another loss right after that.
They did.
So they've gone back-to-back L's here.
So it almost doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
They can go 500 and they'll get in.
They could change the way they schedule in the non-conference, but they don't. All the home games and rarely challenged. So it always makes it hard for New Mexico. But anyway.
Oh, you're speaking of New Mexico. Yeah, I'm talking about Utah State.
No. I think
they're
that
in.
Yes.
They're in. Both teams. San Diego State has a rep.
Yep.
They're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dutcher said he's retiring, so they're not going to leave him out.
And they played Arizona and Michigan early, trying to pump up their numbers. They got drilled, but you still get rewarded for losing those teams. So they went and played them. It's a crazy system, but it's the system.
So, and I think BYU will be fine when it comes to the NCAA tournament. But it's not about getting in. That's
no, it's not. It's where you're going to be seated.
They're not rewarding Mark Pope in Kentucky for getting in.
No, they're not.
And now with BYU,
they expect
it's the same thing right now.
The money's gone to the point that now you're a team that's expected to get in, be well seated,
they're paying
and
big
then
money. They're charging big money to go to their games,
and then advance. Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. What are you going to do? And I don't really want to hear about the first week. That needs to be W's.
I've gone a couple of games. They charge me $50 a piece. Jeez.
No.
I tell you, man.
You went on the press pass and you went for free.
Nothing's for free in life, man.
Well, you had to fight with the traffic. I'll give you that.
I had to use my gas.
There it is.
My wheels, my brake pads.
Nice.
My alternator. Come on. All sorts of stuff. And I'll go to more games. And I think I think to me it's split down the middle. I'm on the fence on this game.
DeBonson needs to rebound better. That was brought up in the conference call and the post-game. Rebounds have been on the mind of the BYU coaching staff, and Kevin Young has talked about it. And DeBonson's averaging 4 rebounds a game in these losses. He's averaging a little over 6 on the year. He's had 8 or 9 in some of their better wins. They need more possessions in these close games.
They want to talk about the loss, and he did say it. Kevin Young went to Pickens and Baker, and he also said the Kozlowski kid, and I'm glad he brought up his name because the kid can shoot. I saw him play for 3 years in high school, and he can shoot. But I actually think the biggest loss is Dallin Hall not coming back. They don't have a point guard. Wright had 1 assist the other night.
Yeah. Wright's looking to get into the paint and score.
He's looking to shoot.
Yeah. Get in the paint and score.
They need somebody who can facilitate the offense. And to me, he would be starting. I understand what he was doing.
Hall and Wright together, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand what his thinking was. Hey, you're bringing in this guy. You brought in another dude. My senior year, I don't want to sit the bench. I want to play as many minutes as I possibly could. But I think if he had stayed at BYU, he'd be playing as many minutes as he possibly could. I think that's the biggest loss off of last year's team.
And when you name all those guys, suddenly the whole depth issue becomes not nearly as big of a deal. And now it's a big deal.
Yeah.
There's only 3 guys who can score. Where are the guys who can get you 7, 8, 10 points a game?
And Hall's a tough-minded kid.
And would have found a way in some of these games. Something would have gone better.
Right. He can get in there and mix it up.
Maybe Kansas or Texas Tech, certainly Oklahoma State, and they could have pulled out 1 or 2 of these games.
I'm not assigning blame on anybody for his leaving. I'm just saying his loss, I think, is more significant under the circumstances than we realized and realize.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's all hindsight. But it's like if you could plug those 3 or 4 players in, the depth issue is no longer a deal. The ability to get a few buckets here and there from other guys.
But even with the depth, I still think the loss of Hall.
Yeah.
Assuming the other guys didn't get hurt.
If you want to put him at the top of the 4 as the most important loss, I get why you're doing that.
And you could say Chiori in the low block. I get that. But Hall could have really helped them this year. But he's not there, and they're going to have to overcome it. And
well, it's just a lesson on how to put together teams going forward. And they have to do it again next year.
Yeah, they're going to have to constantly do it,
right.
Especially he's getting these kids that have zero tie to BYU. If it's not going well, they're out.
Right.
Look at the one freshman. What was his name? Catchings. And he couldn't wait to get out the door.
Yeah, Catchings had found himself sideways by midseason.
Right. But I mean, if he had been a BYU guy,
sure, it'd be different.
Maybe he would have stuck around, and maybe he would have developed. Maybe not. I don't know.
The Utah Jazz. You've seen a couple games now since the trade. Evaluate that. We've had people on doing that. We've had Andy Bailey on. Where's this team going? Certainly there are big decisions to be made by the Jazz. You know, what's going to happen with Kessler this summer? How much money is he going to get to stay? Is there a chance he could leave? I suppose there's a chance. I think it's more likely he stays. But at what number and how much room does that leave to sign Keontae George in another year? Where can this go over the next 3 years? Specifically, can they be top 6, 7, or 8 next year? And so we went round and round with him on that. That was interesting. So you can go listen to that wherever you get your podcast. You can listen to Ken Pomeroy. And you can listen to the entire show every hour, but especially Andy Bailey and Ken Pomeroy.
Jaren Jackson is the most significant player added to the Jazz since Darren Williams. It's the most significant trade since Jeff Hornacek. You can debate all you want, and you'd be wrong.
So does the Darren Williams, the trade to move up to get D. Will count as a most significant trade? You said player added.
But him coming out of the team.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have two.
Mm-hmm.
Under that. I see what you're doing, but I want two.
Okay, you want two separate categories.
Yeah.
Even if one of them kind of overlaps.
You can argue Mitchell.
Okur came as a free agent. Mitchell came as a draft pick.
But they're all acquisitions.
Okay, but you were talking the biggest draft. I was thinking a trade since Hornacek, which was a massive deal. I mean, we knew it that day, and certainly everything that happened over the next 5, 6, 7 years underscored that we were right that day.
I mean, you could go Mitchell. I get it. But he wanted out.
Yeah.
It became a drag.
And there was no conference final there. As much as you love the regular season success and the 1 seed, and it's exciting times, you want the postseason
But I'm
payoff.
not going to dump on him as the reason they didn't get there.
But nonetheless, none of that added. The whole rebuild, the whole decade, is 4 years of rebuild, 6 years of playoffs, but
sometimes
you want to get there.
It's not their fault in terms of, the Jazz didn't get to the finals in the 80s. Well, the Lakers were there. It wasn't the fault of the Jazz. The Lakers were there. But that Mitchell group, that was the fault of them.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for losing the Clippers.
The 1 seed and the Clippers and Kawhi's out. It was just all right there for the taking.
Yeah. No excuse.
And
every single one of them deserves blame.
If there'd been some more patience among the top players, maybe they give it another shot.
Right.
But they're super expensive. They're not getting along. It made it easier to make the trades and start over again.
Yeah, the 14th time you told me that they were getting along, that's
probably not happening.
Yeah, because it speaks for itself. Like, I never tell people, Yak and DJ get along. Because it's known that it doesn't really work. I have to keep you guys apart. And
There's a reason why there's glass between us.
Yeah. And,
looks like a Hornets-Pistons game if
I know DJ wants to break glass, but I won't let him.
Are you Diabate? Is that what we're...
It's funny. I just saw another angle of that, and it's wider. It's handheld camera up in the stands. Phoenix Suns 20 years ago. If the NBA is going to be consistent, a lot of guys are going to get
Isaiah
suspended.
Stewart's getting
not just the 4 guys who threw punches. There were multiple guys across the line. Some 1 step, some 2 steps. Yes. And it's way worse. You can see people, because when the tighter camera on the game, you can see what's going on right where it's pointed. And what you don't know is 40 feet away, there's some dude running 60 feet.
Yeah, well,
so he can throw
Isaiah
punches.
Stewart came off the bench and threw a punch. He's going to face multiple.
Got to. Yeah. Yeah, if they're going to be consistent with what they've done in the past, then
a lot of guys sitting out.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be. There's got to be more angles that I haven't seen, and so whether it ends up being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know what to tell you, but it's got to be more than 4 for sure. All right, DJ and PK. Anything else you want to talk about, PK? Anything else going on? Spring training, pitchers and catchers reporting in Florida and Arizona today. Go and watch your baseball highlights. Guys playing pepper. Oh, there'll be video people playing Pepper.
No, they fake the throw to home and then run over and cover first.
Nice.
And somebody hits a fungo.
And somebody will be throwing the ball. They'll have something like a strike zone stapled to the wall, some kind of like a mat or something. And, those are your
It's
baseball
good to be
highlights.
back, man.
That means spring is coming, even if we haven't been shoveling snow here every week. DJ and PK, we got Jazz tickets to give away. You want to do that now, Yak? Yep. All right, Jazz tickets. Win a pair of tickets right now to watch the Jazz and the Blazers Thursday night at the Delta Center. Call 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. Caller 12 right now. See the Jazz and the Blazers Thursday night, the last game before the All-Star break. Call right now, right here on the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's time for your feedback. Question of the morning. Now that you've seen a couple of games, what's your evaluation of the Jazz trade deadline moves? Matt says once JJ and the team get used to each other and they know all the spots, all the plays, it's just going to get better and better.
Good times ahead.
Matt is ready. Sean, one player has shifted the team's defensive efficiency by light years.
Yeah, I still think they need a Kessler, though.
How good do you think they can be defensively? I mean, it's 30th now. There's nowhere to go but up, and they're clearly going to go up. But 20th?
Well, yeah, but if they expand 10th? By 2, they could actually go down.
They're not going to expand for next year, but thanks for bringing that up, just to muddy the waters.
It remains to be seen, what do you need as far as the defensive proficiency if you are a prolific offensive team, and so maybe you won't need as much. And defense would be, does it just need to be adequate, or does it need to be great? Does it need to be top 5? Too much unknown right now, and I don't know what they're going to do with Kessler and what they're going to do with that position. So I had a much better idea to be able to answer that in August than right now, assuming, once we get past July, all the deals are done, the rosters are set and all that, except for, may add a couple guys to practice and then won't make the team and all that. But you want to be top 10, obviously. That would be a massive jump. My instinct says no, but Jackson will never play with Kessler until next year.
So let's see when we get there.
So I won't have any body of evidence. It will be brand new.
Yeah, it'll
game
be brand
1.
Yep. H.I. McDonough at SF Giants fan. I think they have the playoff pieces now. I still think they need an alpha to take the next step. Can someone on this team step up and be the alpha? Be one of the top 10 or top 5 players in the league? Because they don't have that.
No.
They've now got multiple guys that you could project as top 50 players.
Yes.
But 2 of them for sure, but I think arguably they could have a 3rd or a 4th here pretty quickly.
Yes. And how far can that take you?
Right.
That can make you extremely competitive. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I think that can make you extremely competitive in the postseason, too.
But if one of these guys makes the jump to if not all NBA first team, all NBA second team.
Well, I think it has to be there would be 3 possibilities because Jackson and Marketing have been around for enough to where they've settled in, and they're very good.
But they're not top 10.
So is it?
Yeah.
Can George get there? I wouldn't think so. Can Bailey get there? Remains to be seen. Wouldn't bet on it, but I'm not going to say absolutely no. And then the draft pick.
All very logical from you. You don't really do the logic thing. You don't like to do that. That was a very logical breakdown.
You're asking me to predict stuff.
Yeah. Well, we all wonder where this is going because we got to get through these next, I don't know, what is it, 30 games?
I think it might be 29 now.
29 now.
But, I think it'll go well.
28 now.
It'll go well.
Yeah.
And where will it go postseason? Matchups factor into it and all that type of stuff. Let's just get there first. I am willing to bide my time rather than make all these outrageous predictions.
The anticipation, though, PK.
But I want to, and I have anticipation for 26, 27.
Yep.
But I don't have the final result because
we got to go through the draft. We got to go through free agency and trade, see what other people in the West do. Yes.
Who's to say that they can't build? So they win 47 games in next season. and then they win 51-52.
Yep.
And where are you at that point? And you've obviously added and complemented your roster.
Right. Well, we talk about the big jump in the third year, and to your point, 28 will be Ace Bailey's third year. And obviously, whatever they do in the draft, that'll be that player's second year.
And the better the team, the better the role player can make contributions. Antoine Carr will be a legend around here.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was playing for a crappy team, it wouldn't have mattered near as much.
I know, because I worked in Sacramento when he was a big player on a crappy team.
He scored 20-some a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what he did, and he had the personality that drew you into him
No
also.
doubt. But he embraced his role as a role player.
Yeah.
And he performed it very well.
Right.
And he knew when he ran onto the court, I'm going to go against the other team's backup power forward, and I'm going to crush that guy. I'm going to destroy that guy.
So the point I'm making is they can add some role guys who, because of the quality of the team, will actually be more important than their individual talent.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. State of Salt says, hang the banner, DJ. Hang the banner. He is all on board.
Playing?
Playing, division title, what
banner? What banner we hanging?
Banner. He does not specify that. SOS State
Lakers
of Salt.
Lakers only hang one banner.
Yep. The Knicks didn't hang the the NBA Cup banner this year. That was a big deal.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Well, for people in New York.
Nor should they have.
Right. Yeah.
Ben Stiller was up in arms? Again?
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee was up in arms. DJ PK, we're all done. Jake and Ben are coming up next.